All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Power Up with Pride's Fireside Pride 2024. My name is Happy by 3, and I will be hanging out with y'all for the next couple of hours as we do every single thing that there is to do in the Diddy Kong Racing randomizer. And that's a lot of stuff, so we should probably get started as soon as we possibly can. So, LordFluffy, it is all you. Show us how did he go fast?
All right, sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is LordFluffy. This is Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer 100%. So there are two modes with the current version of the Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer, all trophy races and 100%, which one is designed to be done with all trophy races, one is designed to be done with adventure mode to do 100%. So we're going to get right on into it, counting me down. 3, 2, 1, go. There's a lot to explain about Diddy Kong Racing as a game. This game, on a basic level, is fairly simple, but the more you actually look into it, the more you realize just how much actual depth is here. Because this game has probably one of the highest skill caps of any kart racer of the N64 era, the N64 to GameCube era, I'd say. And that all starts out with a technique that we'll be using on all vehicles, some more than others, which is a technique known as A-tapping. So, while you're holding the A button, which is the accelerate button in Diddy Kong Racing, your speed is capped. You can circumvent this by using A-tapping to, in the car, tap the A button once every 4 frames, and in the hovercraft and airplane, you can release the A button for a single frame every few frames or so. You'll see me do that all over the place to circumvent the speed cap, and that is the core, the single thing you'll be able to be doing the most in Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer. But to start off with, we have to go out and get the overworld, the balloons in the overworld, because we need those in order to progress forward. So, in Diddy Kong Racing, there are 47 golden balloons. Each one of these will be a reward from doing the normal races and the Silver Coin Challenge races. There are also additional balloons strewn out through the overworld, which are going to get right out of the gate. We can pretty much do this at the beginning of every speed run. We also do this at the beginning of every randomizer. Oop, I have missed that one. Let's get it there. Okay, a little bit of a mistake, but no big deal. So, the Diddy Kong Racing randomizer, because of the way everything works, the things that are randomized in this particular seed, oop, did not mean to do that. One too many R taps, that's okay. The things that are randomized in this loading zone are the lap count. In this particular case, we can have anywhere from 2 to 4 laps in a race. The loading zones, as you'll see here, are all randomized completely. And you see that I went into the Dino Domain entrance, but actually went to Snowflake Mountain, Future Funland, Sherbert Island, Ancient Lake. That's actually a very good one to find early on. So all the loading zones in here. What would normally be here is a track in Snowflake Mountain, but actually we went to Ancient Lake from Dino Domain. Now you saw me reset a race right there. With the exception of 2 tracks in the game, it is actually faster for you to press the start button as you load into a race for the first time and hit reset race, because this allows you to skip the opening cinematic, the opening cutscene of every single race. And with the exception of 2 races, that is faster than watching the entire cutscene play out. Now, while I'm navigating through each level, some of these levels are going to have keys like that. These are keys that unlocks the doorways to the TT challenges. Each of the TT challenge loading zones are randomized as well. So basically every single loading zone, the boss races included, are going to be randomized. And that actually leads us to why it's a puzzle aspect of Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer. Because in the current version of the randomizer, it is very easy, if you're not following a specific set of rules, to accidentally soft lock. And I can follow these rules pretty well. I have not soft locked a seed in over a month. I almost soft locked one, but I was able to do a backup to save that one the other day, but let's not worry about that right now. The general gist is that there are certain rules I'm going to be following to avoid these soft locks. The first and foremost of which, before we do that, there we go. Nice. So that right there was a cutscene skip. If you pause on the first frame, you cross the finish line of a race. You will get the pop-up of you saying you got first place. Oh, Hot Top Volcano car. This is a funny one. So, you're not supposed to normally be able to use the car in Hot Top Volcano. However, because the randomizer also allows you to randomize which vehicle you can use in a race, as long as the vehicle is considered able to beat that race, such as Hot Top Volcano. While the game doesn't normally allow you to use car, you can actually complete the race as car. So it is something that is a valid vehicle to have. And you have to go about this in a very silly way, because the terrain and the lava is not intended to be done with the car. But as I was saying, the rules to avoid a soft lock are, generally speaking, you never want to do the trophy race for Future Funland before you've hit the sign on the beach to activate the loading zone for the actual Future Funland loading zone. Otherwise, the sign disappears and you can't activate that cutscene, soft locking the seat. You never want to do the first of the 2 boss races before specific balloon counts. This is to avoid, or before you have specific information of what is in certain loading zones. This is to avoid, oh no, get me up there. Okay, there we go. This is to avoid running into a situation where you activate the silver coin challenge for a race, and now the balloon requirement to get into that door has been updated to a higher number, and what was in that loading zone is required for you to finish the seed. And if that happens, there's no way around it. You have soft locked. So I'm a little bit behind here because of getting caught up on the terrain, but thankfully, a little thing about Diddy Kong Racing to note here is I immediately get back in first place because the NPCs cannot navigate in the lava down below. But you see on the map that they are constantly moving forward. This is because Diddy Kong Racing does not actually render the racers whenever they are not like visibly seeable for you. Very good. Got another cutscene skip. All right, that gets me to Sherbert Island. I can use this to check some information. Getting information to know what is in certain loading zones can help you make decisions of whether or not to do certain boss races. Haunted Woods, Windmill Plains, Snowball Valley, Tricky 1. Okay. Those are all really good things to find. I'll have to come back here when I have more balloons. As okay.
Snowflake Mountain.
So can't do anything further in Snowflake Mountain, so we're going to leave. This is going to, because we have 6 balloons, this is going to spawn us into the first of 3 of the Taj race challenges. He's going to put us in a car, and we're going to drive in a circle for 2 laps. But one of the other things you want to do to avoid soft locks is to avoid doing the races from Future Funland for as long as is possible. Because the Future Funland races require like what would normally be the max amount of balloons you could have at the time. You do want to avoid doing them lest the aforementioned balloon requirements soft lock you out of the seed. So following these rules, you should generally never run into a situation where you will soft lock the seed, but every now and then you might accidentally forget, and that is how that goes. So we finish up the first Taj race there. You might have noticed that I didn't actually go to the finish line, what would be on the normal track. You can finish the car version of the Taj race by just cutting across the grass there, which is very nice. All right, so the loading zone for Snowflake Mountain is Dino Domain, and the loading zone for Dino Domain is Snowflake Mountain. And because I picked up the key in Ancient Lake, I have access to the, what is that? Fire Mountain loading zone. There we go. All right, so we're going to enter Fire Mountain here, see what's in this loading zone. It is a race. It is Frosty Village. Okay. Frosty Village in the plain. Oh, goody. Right, so this is a good time to talk about plane techniques. So just like with A-tapping with the other vehicles, it is possible to A-tap in a plane, just like the hovercraft, which we'll get to later. In order to actually make A-tap work, you have to be at top speed. However, A-tapping in the plane is something we really only do when we have to, and not when we not at all times. This is because doing these barrel rolls by inputting a direction, and then a direction to the left or to the right, and then hitting the R button to activate additional turning, will cause us to do a barrel roll. And this barrel roll speeds us up, and if we are not holding the A button, this speeds us up well beyond what would be the normal speed cap for the plane. So generally speaking, if we're in a tight corridor where we don't have a lot of room to barrel roll back and forth, you're going to see us hold the plane, or A-tap the A button, and then when we have a lot of room to do these barrel rolls, you see we're going to be taking advantage of that. We ideally want to press the A button as little as possible in the plane, because the acceleration in the plane is so low, hitting the A button will actually slow you down quicker from like a top speed that you would be at if you were in a barrel roll state than if you just let the A button be unpressed and slow down naturally from not having the acceleration value. So generally speaking, we want to press the A button in the plane as little as possible. Even in situations like this, it's just advantageous to let myself slow down naturally. There we go, got a pause buffer for that. That's good. Frosty Village, and now we can check Greenwood Village. Okay, that's another good one to have there. Frosty Village marked off. Oh, the hovercraft. So this is a good time to talk about the other stuff from the hovercraft. So for the hovercraft, the A-tapping technique, which is the A releasing, where you want to release the A button for a frame every few frames or so, is viable on the hovercraft, and you will be doing it all the time, as there isn't really like a similar technique with the plane. However, you may also notice that I'm holding the R button consistently to get sharper turning, and whenever I'm going in what is effectively a straight line, you will see me snaking back and forth. So the hovercraft actually moves faster when it is in a turning state. So the optimal way to use the hovercraft when you're moving in a straight line, or even a little bit of a straight line for any extended period of time, is actually to push the control stick back and forth between up left and up right to simulate the hovercraft being in a turning state, and that is known as snaking. This ends up being faster than just driving in a straight line, even with A-tapping.
So a moment ago you were in the plane and essentially playing Star Fox, and now I hear that you're playing F-Zero?
Yes. Effectively, that is what it is. All right, that is Greenwood Village down, and now we're into Walrus Cove in the car. Okay. So this is the third vehicle, the car. This is different A-tapping from the hovercraft and the plane in the sense that you actually only want to press the A button one frame every 4 frames or so. And that's a good time to talk about why I specify 4 frames for car and not specify for hovercraft and plane. It was recently discovered in the Diddy Kong Racing speedrun community that the optimal speed for A-tapping in the car was once every 4 frames. Now, this would seem like a simple thing to get a rhythm going with like a metronome to know the beats per second of A-tapping. However, Diddy Kong Racing does not run at a consistent frame rate. It is meant to run at 30 frames per second. It can run anywhere from 30 frames to as low as 12 frames per second. So the optimal
You know,
A-tap
like how N64 games run.
Yeah,
That tracks. Yeah.
That tracks. But the key thing to note about it is that means that the beats per minute that you have to A-tap to do the optimal A-tap changes with the frame rate. So higher level Diddy Kong Racing speedrunners will actually figure out how many how many frames are running at any given point during a track, because it is variable. Even like a track like Walrus Cove here doesn't run at a consistent frame rate the entire time. You will sometimes be higher in certain areas and lower in other areas. So they'll figure out the optimal beats per minute for each particular section of each track, and it is incredible to watch a high-level Diddy Kong Racing player and just know all this information. Dang, okay, so I finally missed...
Has somebody put a task together with that for, like, once every 4 frames perfectly throughout? I feel like that'd be wild.
I do not know for certain, but I know there are Diddy Kong Racing tasks out there that take advantage of this information. But I wouldn't know where to find it specifically if it does exist. So what happened there is I finally missed a cutscene skip. I paused a little bit too late. Now, we'll take it down to a second. Whale Bay is one of the 2 tracks here that I don't actually want to pause to skip the cutscene at the start, and you'll see that we're in the plane. This is normally not a valid vehicle for this race, as you're... Oh, double tapped it, unfortunate. You're normally only expected to have the hovercraft here, but the plane is considered a valid vehicle for this stage. The car is also considered a valid vehicle for this stage, not in the Silver Coin Challenge, and that is because it is possible to win this race as a car, despite the aforementioned, when I was in Hot Top Volcano, the fact that, okay, I am not keeping my speed well here. The aforementioned fact that the NPCs are not rendered and their position data is updated every couple frames or so whenever they are not loaded in. That usually makes it impossible to win this race because the NPCs will pass you by as you're about to reach the finish line pretty consistently every time. But it is possible to get all the NPCs stuck in a location here and then back across the finish line with all of them rendered and loaded in to win the race. So that's why car is considered valid for this. The Diddy Kong Racing randomizer allows you to override certain settings. So because that can particularly go super wrong, I just made sure that I wouldn't get that randomization for the sake of not taking 15 minutes on a single stage. Okay, Blue 1.
Absurd. I love it.
I do want to hold off on doing Blue 1 for just a moment here. I think there was something in Snowflake Mountain in Frosty Village's entrance that I don't want to do. So I want to hold off on doing this for just now to make sure that I'm not locking myself out of something. But we're at 11 balloons, which means the second of the 3 Taj Challenge races is active. And thankfully, it's the hovercraft one. So we can do the hovercraft race and then head on over to the Sherbet Island entrance. All right, so the lap count can be randomized, I believe, from anywhere from 1 lap to 9 lap. Typically, I have 1 laps enabled. However, there are certain 1 laps that are very difficult to do and have taken me over an hour to complete before, such as my completely loathed and disliked Snowball Valley 1 lap in the plane. If you know Diddy Kong Racing, you can imagine why that one is very bad. Snowball Valley expects you to go down 2 separate paths in order to complete the Silver Coin Challenge. And that expects you to do 2 laps in order to do it. Trying to do that in only 1 lap is very painful. So we like to avoid doing that if we can. All right, so that is Taj 2's race down and dusted. Oop, did not hop at the right time. There we go. Okay, so now that we got that, we're going to head on over to the entrance to Sherbet Island. Each of these normal balloon requirements are the same as the vanilla game, so we can now enter this loading zone. It is Dragon Forest information time. Dark Moon Caverns, Bluey 2, Pirate Lagoon, Everfrost Peak. Okay, so I cannot, because Everfrost Peak is in the Haunted Woods loading zone, I basically can never do Smoky 1's race until I have either a guaranteed way to get 37 balloons, or I can resolve Everfrost Peak in its entirety. Otherwise, oh, wait, I needed 16 balloons for this. I need to go back to Snowflake Mountain. That is correct. That is true. Remembering your pathing. All right. So
Snowflake Mountain.
This was Future Funland. Okay, so this is fine. I can actually do Bluey 1 whenever, but it's probably worth me going in here because information of what is in Future Funland is paramount. Treasure Caves, Bubbler 2, Spaceport Alpha, Space Dust Alley. That is not great. It does mean that Star City is a race that I can do with no issue, but, well, maybe not actually. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to do Bluey 1 real quick, and then go from there. Progress the seed forward. Alright. Notes.
I'm gonna go so far as to say I played this game a lot as a child, but apparently I played it enough that hearing the Snowflake Mountain, like, unlocked something deep within me. Like, I'm like, huh, I didn't realize I played this game that much, but that definitely hit me somewhere. I was like, oh, yeah, I've been here. You know, I've been saying for years, kids are so obsessed with Bluey, and if it's so good, why is there no Bluey 2? And it turns out
there has been a Bluey 2 this entire time.
there was Bluey 2 the whole time.
Anyway, this racetrack was not designed with plane in mind. Yeah, plane is a valid vehicle for doing the Bluey boss race. It is not designed with plane in mind at all. So all we have to do is make sure that we are flying and hitting these checkpoints required to finish the seed. You can think of them as checkpoints in any other racing game that check your position through the track. If you can hit them from very far out of bounds, and as long as you hit them, you can just barrel roll through the entire track completely out of bounds in Bluey, and it is very funny. So now that we've done Bluey 1, the Silver Coin Challenge for all of the Snowflake Mountain races are going to be active. This also means that anytime I've done a race from Snowflake Mountain, so in this particular case, Walrus Cove and Frosty Village, those loading zones are going to be updated to their required balloon counts as if it was normal gameplay, even though what's in that loading zone is not actually those races.
So is that actually good advice?
What advice, sorry?
Bluey telling you to let up on the accelerator right before you hit a zipper?
Oh, yeah. So that goes hand in hand with the fact that pressing the A button caps your speed in this game. This applies to all of the zippers, which are like boost pads, or blue balloons, which give you boosts. So you see whenever I don't hold the A button, I get a green boost. The entire duration of that green boost is actually putting me well beyond what the speed cap I would get if I was holding the A button. So that is actually extremely good advice and can help absolutely break this game in certain locations. Being able to, in the best case scenarios, chain boost after boost after boost, and I am snaking a little bit incorrectly and missing those coins. That is fine. All right, I can get most of these on the next lap. Albeit, I did forget what I was supposed to do here, so I have to do a bit of a weird pathing to get all of these here. Yep. Did not get that at the turn I wanted. That is okay. Marathon commentary.
A game that gives you actual reasonable tips. So I feel like there's so many games where runners are like, yeah, now that we know more about the game, that's actually really bad advice. Don't do that.
Yeah, on a basic level, a lot of those tips tend to be pretty good, but at the same time, it is also fairly easy for the developers to think one way about their game, and then 20 years later, speedrunners discover, actually, wait, no, this is worse.
Yeah.
All right. So that is Frosty Village, Silver Coin. So Frosty Village is now done. We've gotten both of the golden balloons from there. So we can continue forward, no issue. We're going to go next up to, I think it was in this loading zone? Yep, Walrus Cove. And this will give me my 4th balloon from Snowflake Mountain loading zones. And that's key to note because the boss races, both of their loading zones are randomized. And this is one of those soft lock things that I mentioned before. You always have to resolve what is in the first of the 2 boss races before you unlock the second, with one exception that I can get into later. And this is because the loading zone for the first boss race is active from 0 to 7 balloons. You get access to it normally with 4 balloons. But if you ever reach 8 balloons, which is the maximum amount intended for each world, the second loading zone for the boss will open and be active, and the first loading zone will never be available again. So if you ever accidentally not finish up what is in the first loading zone, for example, let's say that the first tricky race is in Tricky 1, I don't do it, get all 8 balloons in Dino Domain, and now Tricky 2's loading zone is active. I can never do Tricky 1 again. Now, what I just described is not actually possible in the game, for the record, because I have to do Tricky 1 to get the Silver Coin challenges in the first place, but the theory is there that I would no longer be able to do Tricky 1, and subsequently, the game would be soft locked. So, making sure that is the last of the rules you basically have to follow to always resolve what is in the first loading zone before you activate the second one. All right. So as I'm going through the laps here in Car, the main thing to note about Car is it doesn't really have as high of a skill cap as the plane and the hovercraft do. It is, however, the most intuitable and still very fun vehicle to control. The one thing you do have to note is that when you are skidding, which is holding the R button and like drifting as I'm doing here, you do actually have higher speed than if you are just driving normally. So generally speaking, if you're going to be going through a section you want to be drifting through it, there are some places where this is not needed or not necessary, such as, when you are taking a boost. But the key thing to note is whenever you are going up any sort of upward slope, you want to be skidding up a bit, because this is my understanding of it, it could be wrong. Skidding actually lowers your friction value, meaning that you can get up hills much faster because the game doesn't slow you down as much. Yeah, but now that we've got that fourth balloon, we now have access to the first loading zone for Bluey. So we're going to head back to Snowflake Mountain real quick and grab that. This also should mean that we have access to... I feel like I just heard something I don't usually hear. That's weird. We should have access to the first few loading zones in Sherbert Island as well with 14 balloons. All right. So we have this little cutscene of it opening up the door for the first time. We can check what is in the Bluey 1 loading zone. All right, it is Boulder Canyon, which is slightly inconvenient, but also very good, because this gives us a loading zone in Smokey's Castle, which is in Dragon Forest. So slightly inconvenient because this does mean I do have to do Smokey 1 in order to fully resolve this loading zone, meaning that I cannot get all 8 balloons in Snowflake Mountain races until such a time as this is resolved. But it's also not the end of the world, because typically the randomizer logic accounts for for things like this and will make sure that you don't run into a situation where you're forced to soft lock yourself to do so. Okay. Boulder Canyon is... This is 4 laps, so this is going to take a while. I am going to take a quick pit stop on the 3rd lap to pick up the key, which will be necessary for opening Smoky Castle. But otherwise, this is a good time for sending some messages as I run through this race.
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who may just be joining us, this is Fireside Pride 2024, and we are raising money for Point of Pride. Point of Pride is a trans-led 501c3 nonprofit organization that specializes in different forms of direct support to trans folks, such as providing access to HRT for folks who can't afford it, offering grants to cover gender-affirming surgery, offering grants to cover electrolysis for permanent... Electrolysis? We're going with electrolysis for permanent hair removal for trans folks. They do really concrete, hands-on work, which is my personal favorite kind of charity for these sort of events. You know, it feels really good when you know, like, the money that you are providing goes directly to, like, concrete action. It just feels good knowing that when you donate, you can see that direct link to what your money is doing. And if you would like to support, I'll pop one of those exclamation point donates in chat. Just follow that link and support the lovely folks over at Point of Pride. Chat telling me that I was correct. It is electrolysis. Great work, me.
Excellently done.
I only write for a living.
All right, so now we're heading into Sherbert Island. We have a bunch of loading zones here that are all going to be accessible with the exception of one. But the big thing here is we can do Tricky 1. Oh, and we're Tricky 1 in the car, it seems like. So I can actually get to show off a glitch here known as Tricky Skip. So behind the start line, there is an oscillating checkpoint that every other frame will be active at a certain point. So we want to hit we want to get up this wall, mash the A button to get as much height as possible. And if we do this right, we should get a wrong way sign. Okay, so we didn't get it, so we have to do this right. This is a bit of RNG because, as I said, it oscillates every frame, so we won't get it every single time. But if we do it right, we should get the game telling us wrong way. There we go. And now if we drive a little bit farther up the track, the game will suddenly think, oh, he's at the top. He's finished. They're finished the race. We should end the race. And that allows you to finish up the tricky race. If you do it first try, like a full minute faster than what you would be able to do is if you drove up the entire track, which is very convenient because it is possible to do with all vehicles, but I only really know how to do it in the car because you're only expected to have the car in this race. So, yeah, tricky skip is definitely a bit tough, but it is absolutely worth it. Because of how much time it saves from being able to do it. But the key thing there is, oh yeah. So whenever you come out of a boss race that you finish, that's in a loading zone, that's supposed to be a normal race. It faces you towards. Nope, this is one of the ones I want to let play. If you face toward, it faces you towards the loading zone. So if you're like me and forget all the time, you will immediately think, okay, time to hold A to immediately accelerate, and you'll re-enter the loading zone and have to press the start button to return to lobby after. This is interesting. I am not actually going to do the Silver Coin Challenge for Snowball Valley, actually, because I'm realizing that Everfrost Peak is in Haunted Woods. Haunted Woods' loading zone, and I don't know where Smoky 1 is right now, so I'm probably going to have to resolve Everfrost Peak before I get Smoky 1, just to make sure that... Yeah, okay. So basically, I'm running into a situation here where I don't actually want to get the additional balloon for Snowball Valley here, because I want to resolve the other race from Snowflake Mountain, Everfrost Peak, that I haven't done, leaving myself at 7 balloons, and instead of 8, so I can still resolve Boulder Canyon, which is in Bluey 1. Now, I forgot to get the key, so I go back for that real quick and then immediately return to lobby, but that is a restriction that I now have to keep in mind here, and that could be rough depending on where exactly Smoky 1's loading zone is. Alright, Windmill Plains in the car. This is a valid vehicle for this track, but is not something that you do in the normal gameplay and normal adventure mode, because this track is expected to be done in the plane. Windmill Plains is done in the plane. Very appropriate. So I always try and route in where I can these bananas. You can think of these bananas as coins in more modern Mario Karts, and that having more of them increases your top speed. In the case of Diddy Kong Racing, it increases your top speed by 2.5% per banana, capping out at 10 for an extra 25% additional speed. The key thing to note is it caps your top speed, which does also apply to techniques that, at least if I understand this correctly, it implies the techniques that increase your speed beyond what is the normal cap. So, for example, it makes your barrel rolls in the plane go even faster than they would normally. I could be wrong about that, so don't take me at my word. But that is my understanding of it at the very least. Okay, let's try and get this cutscene skip. Perfect timing. Don't even need to buffer. Very good. And this was Haunted Woods. Okay. So this actually gives me access to Smoky 1's loading zone by finishing this, because I'll have the first 4 balloons from Dragon Force as well. Haunted Woods in a plane is a very difficult track to do on plane. All the zippers are on the ground, and while you can hit grounded zippers in the plane, it is very difficult to do so. I very often find myself just A-tapping my way through most of this, as I occasionally hit zippers, but because they're on the ground, they can be a bit harder to hit. There we go. There's very few locations where you can take like major advantage of the barrel roll without crashing into a wall, and because the plane's acceleration is very low, crashing into a wall in a plane, unlike car, which loses you like a second in the worst case scenarios, unlike hovercraft, which can lose you like 2 to 3 depending on the scenario, you pretty consistently lose like 6 or more seconds from crashing into a wall in plane. So it is almost always more worth it to take a corner or take a line a bit slower by doing A-taps instead of barrel rolls, rather than do a barrel roll that's in an errant location and then slam directly into a wall. There we go. Got the cutscene skip. Even doing as many pause buffers as I did there is still 100% worth it. because every single cutscene skip that you get after the first one saves you roughly 9 seconds or so from the victory cutscene to the Taj cutscene starting and then you skipping it. So even taking like 2 to 3 pause buffers is 100% worth it. But we did get the loading zone for Icicle Pyramid, so we're going to hop in here real quick, see what it is. It is Darkwater Beach, and now I have to hope that there's a red balloon somewhere. So the ideal strategy whenever you get these battle minigames, Icicle Pyramid and Darkwater Beach, is to find a red balloon and then just camp it the entire time. But it is possible for you to get no red balloons on the entire map, which means the only way you have to damage enemies is the green balloons. The green balloons only put down mines. You can see why that might be a problem instead of having a projectile to shoot at enemies. And that's happened to me before in Icicle Pyramid while in the plane. I spent 20 minutes trying to do that the last time it happened. It was not fun. Not fun at all. But yeah, we're just going to be going back and forth, making sure we're hitting the balloons, getting the second tier upgrade to get the homing missiles just so that we don't have to worry about aiming whenever we're taking these shots. Fun fact, you can randomize whether the cheat codes in the game are activated or not in each of the races, which it is possible to get the cheat code that makes picking up a balloon always give you the highest tier upgrade, which is not normally possible in gameplay. But it leads to this funny situation where if a NPC picks up a red balloon and then gets in front of you, they can fire the 10 missile barrage from the fully upgraded red balloon every frame. They can delete you in 4 frames in the right scenario because you don't get invincibility frames whenever you get hit. It's not fun. All right. Well, now we're done with that, so we don't have to go back to that loading zone period. We're going to go ahead and leave here because we have 18. This is enough to get the final challenge race from Taj, who's going to put us into a plane, and now we do the plane race. And this also gives us access with 16 balloons to the Dragon Forest entrance. Oop, that is not what I intended to do. Such devastation. So 4 laps here. This is going to be a lot of trying to press the A button as little as possible and barrel roll our way through. You have to make sure that you're not colliding with certain terrain. The water will stop you from barrel rolling. If you barrel roll into the ceiling, your barrel roll will stop. If you barrel roll at the wrong angle into a wall, you'll bonk completely. And even in a situation where I have to not barrel roll for like a second or two, I do not want to press the A button if possible because of the aforementioned fact that pressing the A button will decelerate you slower than if you just let yourself decelerate by not pressing the A button normally. You do have to be at a specific speed in order to be able to barrel roll, though. If you're below that speed, the game will not let you do it. So there is a balance of making sure that you are not losing a lot of speed and not losing too much speed, but also not pressing the A button to get A-tap. So here, accidentally messed up my routing. Have to spend a little bit of time holding the A button to get back up to the speed I need to barrel roll. But now that we're done with that, we are going to be done here very shortly with the final Taj race. Each of these Taj races challenges you in a specific vehicle. Each one of them gives you a balloon, and as I said, there are 47 of them throughout the entire thing.
Hello, friend. Bye-bye for now.
My tracker is not properly updated because I am missing a track. I'm going to have to look at that again. See which one. I think it was Snowball Valley? Yeah, Snowball Valley. Okay, and the Dragon Forest loading zone is Bubbler 1. Do I want to do Bubbler 1 at this point? I have 19 balloons. It should be safe to do Bubbler 1, yeah. Yeah, it's safe to do Bubbler 1. I think you need 22, 23 balloons. Oop. That did not go to plan here. Being 22 to 23 balloons in order to be able to resolve not needing additional, or not having to do, in order to avoid soft locking from having done Bubbler 1 and unlocking the silver coin challenges, which have the higher balloon rewards. So something you might have seen me do, so something you can do with the cutscene skips, bringing up the pause menu the first frame you finish a race, which allows you to return to lobby. Something you can also do with that is restart race. Now, if you do this in a situation where the silver coin challenge is unlocked, which happens naturally for the future Funland races, and will happen whenever you have the first boss race done for the first 4 hub worlds. If the silver coin challenge is unlocked, you can do that cutscene skip and then press restart race, which puts you immediately into the silver coin challenge. So getting cutscene skips whenever that is enabled will actually save you even more time from not having to re-navigate back into the loading zone once you're done sitting through the cutscenes. But Bubbler 1 is done here. We just have Smoky 1 to find left. And this is a good time to talk about TT. You might have noticed that I'm playing as the secret character, the unlockable character TT. And this is because TT is objectively the best character in the game. With very minor exceptions and very specific circumstances where Drumstick is faster than TT on certain maps in a plane, TT is objectively the fastest character in the game for basically every other track and basically every other vehicle. So, because our intention is to finish this as fast as possible, we use the best character in the game. It makes sense.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me that he would be the best character in the game, considering that once per turn you can toss a coin and call it, and if you call it right, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls.
I understood that reference.
That was a joke for like 4 people, and luckily you were one of them.
All right, so this is actually good that we find Fossil Canyon here. I have completely forgotten that I've done Tricky 1, but this is good because I'll be able to resolve the loading zone that we just went into, which is Smoky 1, completely. Because I've done Tricky 1, I can do both the regular race and the Silver Coin Challenge, resolving this. So once I do find Smoky 1, I can get the other 4 balloons from the Dragon Forest races with absolutely no issue to unlock Smoky 2's loading zone. So I did a little bit of... I missed all of them. That is classic me. Forgetting my routing because I am explaining the video game. Very good. Something you may have noticed is that each of these upgrade balloons, the item balloons, are all randomized to 2. This is something that you can do. But because they're all randomized, there is an element of adaptation that comes with every race where, you know, in the normal game, you know where each of the balloons are, and you always know what routes you want to do to get the blue balloons, because the blue balloons are pretty much the only items that we want to have, with very minor exceptions in the rainbow balloons. But the blue balloons are the boost balloons, and the boost balloons also give you that extra boost from not holding the A button that the zippers do. And the more blue balloons there are, the better everything goes. Oop, getting caught up on a wall there. A little bit too tight of a turn. That is okay. So whenever you're doing the Diddy Kong Racing randomizer, anytime you're running through the track, you pretty much want to route in any and all blue balloons that you can. Because each one of those could be 2 to 3 seconds of time save in the right scenario. Unfortunately, missed the pause buffer there, so I'm going to have to re-enter. But that is okay. By the end of this, we will have enough to do... By the end of this track, we'll have enough to do the Tricky 1 loading zone, and we're getting pretty damn good progress overall here. So Silver Coin Challenge is also car. I'm going to try and do... Nope, I messed it up already. That's okay. Silver Coin Challenge for Fossil Canyon is a little bit weird in the sense that you don't want to get them all on the first lap, because you want to do that outside routing I did to pick up these bananas, because you could the length of Fossil Canyon as a racetrack is long enough, especially in 3-lap situation, where it's 100% worth it to just spend the time to pick up those balloons to increase your top speed. and then try and pick up this coin in the second or third lap with bouncing around here with that zipper going up the wall there. Unfortunately, only one blue balloon this entire time, which sucks a little bit, but randomization can have absolutely no blue balloons on the map, so one is better than none, which is what happened last time when I had none in the entire track.
Are there any courses in the randomizer where you're hoping to get 3 or 4 laps, or are you pretty much always like it's faster to get 2?
It is always faster to get 2. If I'm ever hoping to have 4 laps, I'm hoping to have them on the silver coin challenges. This is because the trophy races take the lap count from the normal race. So if the normal race of a track has, okay, so I can't quite, I need 22, so I need one more here. Pirate Lagoon, Bluey 2, Darkened Caverns. I don't want to do Darkened Caverns, so I can resolve Bluey 2 right now. Your question. What's your question? Their tracks where you, yeah, okay, yeah, right. So you're always going to get some tracks that are 4 races. So if you do want anything to be 4 laps, you do generally want them to be on the silver coins instead of the normal races, because the trophy races for each race, the trophy race section for each race takes the lap count from the first race. So if you have, for example, Snowball Valley 2 lap in the normal race, you will get Snowball Valley 2 lap in the trophy race as well. My phone is going off all the way on the other side of the room, and that's going to be going off in the next 5 minutes if I don't turn it off. So I'm going to have to finish this race real quick here and let the cutscene play out as I go turn that off, because my alarm is going off. The alarm of, hey, it's 1 p.m. Please wake up and be a productive member of society if you're not awake at that point. Whoopsie daisies. But yeah, you're always going to want 2 laps in like every situation. It's just faster. There we go. I'm gonna turn my phone off real quick. Come on, bud. All right, listen. Turn it off. Ow. Okay, there we go. Oh, whoops. We're good. Okay.
I, for one, am glad we get to
Hopefully
see
the feed didn't cut off there for a second, but if it did, we should be good.
That was perfect. We just got to watch this very dapper walrus yell at you.
All right, and this is the first of the second boss races that we've done. Each of the second boss races gives you a piece of the Wizpig amulet. Whenever you get all 4 pieces, you get access to the Wizpig 1 loading zone. Now, the key thing to note here is, unlike the first races, the second races have no inherent restriction to them. So, you can do them literally whenever you see them. Now we're going to do Pirate Lagoon, and we're in a plane. Very good. Pirate Lagoon in a plane is actually, unironically, very fun to do. Not possible in the normal game, because it expects you, accidentally hit the ceiling and bonked. This is what I mean by you lose 6 seconds like every time, because bonking in a plane completely decelerates you. You have to use the A button to get back up to speed, and ah, my goodness. No, don't bonk. Be better at the game. All right, that's fine.
I'm no pilot, but it is my understanding that if you're flying a plane, hitting the top of the plane on something is bad.
Yeah. Hitting the front of the plane, the wing of the plane, pretty much any part of the plane into something kind of just isn't good.
No, it seems like you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you'd be right about that. Appreciate the advice. Okay. So, yeah, to go on to the point said earlier about wanting 2 laps on the normal races if you're going to have the 4 laps anywhere to be on the silver coins. Because this Pirate Lagoon is 4 laps, it means when I eventually have to do the trophy race, wow, I've bonked into everything. This is one of my favorite tracks to get on plane, actually, and I've bonked everything. Yeah, because the trophy race is going to have Pirate Lagoon be a 4-lap race as a result.
This looks so hard to do on plane. Just there's so many tight spaces with the barrel rolling. I feel like I would be ping-ponging around quite a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. Okay, I got the pause buffer. So this is the example of using the cutscene skip to go directly into the silver coin challenge. Because we have Bubbler 1 finished, the silver coin challenges are unlocked immediately. And this gives us immediate access to the Silver Coin Challenge. So that's additional time saved that we would have had to do from navigating back into the loading zone. So I mentioned earlier that aside from the first time you miss a cutscene skip, you lose about 6 to 9 seconds or so. The first time, you have to watch the entire cutscene of Taj giving you the balloon. I need to go back for that coin because it's only 2 left. Where was it? There it was. Pay attention to your lap counts, ladies and gentlemen. Very important things for you to note. Now, where is the last one? I think it is just... Yeah. All right. Thankfully, this game does not have any rubber banding for the NPCs, so the NPCs will always finish the laps at about the same time. Very good cutscene skip there as well. Very nice. And now we can resolve Everfrost Peak, so whenever we do find Smoky 1's loading zone, we can do Smoky 1 with no problem whatsoever. And now we're in Everfrost Peak in a car. And this is a good time to show off the speed difference of when you're going up a hill. So if you're going up a hill, there's a lot of upward hills that you have to go up in Everfrost Peak when you're in a car. So I can very easily show off the difference of, okay, I slowed down pretty badly there. Let's just drive up this hill. Oh, you slow down so much.
Wow.
And the moment you start skidding, you're able to speed up way, way more.
Looks like me riding my bike up a hill. Just like,
That's exactly
just immediately like 0.
Yeah, gravity is not kind to you when you're going uphill in a car versus the hovercraft where you basically have no friction and can just go up at no problem. So anytime I'm going up a hill in Everfrost Peak, I am going to be trying to skid, use the drift. Unfortunately, it's a little bit difficult because when you're holding the button, you also want to sometimes hold, for example, I'll be facing to the right, but holding to the left to try and keep a specific angle, right there. But sometimes when you're going up the hills, you'll bounce, and then the skid will end. The game will end your skid, and then when you hit the ground again, you'll start another one, which changes the direction of your skid, and it can be very hard to keep that properly in check the whole way through. So... Also, sometimes you'll just bounce over the skid, the zipper that you are trying to hit. I wish that wasn't a thing, but it happens all the time. Nice, got the cutscene skip. I'm nailing these right now. I've only missed 3, I think, so far. Oh, but yeah, the first time you miss a cutscene skip, you effectively lose the entire duration of the Taj giving you a balloon cutscene, which is something more in the realm of 16 seconds or so. It's a lot of time lost. So in the normal speedrun, you would let that first cutscene play out from a TT Amulet challenge. So Fire Mountain would be the place where you would let that cutscene play. Because that cutscene is shorter, so you would save 3 seconds by letting that play out versus missing a cutscene skip in a normal race. However, it's not 1 lap. What are you doing? But because we have no idea where those loading zones are, the first time I could have potentially let that cutscene play out was Darkwater Beach. Unfortunately, by that point, I'd already missed the cutscene skip, so didn't end up saving that little bit of extra time. But yeah, cutscene skips become very important at a higher level because there are effectively 47 of them throughout the entire run because there's 47 balloons, 47 balloon races that you have to do. And I don't know if it's the case now, but at least a couple years ago, no runner had managed to get 47. I need to go back to that coin. I forgot about it both laps. I'm talking and forgetting.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Thankfully, whenever you hit the air zippers, they will just automatically face you towards the direction that they are facing, which is actually a little bit of a talking point. You want to hit these zippers in a hovercraft and in a plane directly in the direction that they are going, because if not, they will actually stop you in place to redirect you towards the direction you want to go. So if you have a choice of zippers, you generally speaking want to take the grounded zippers because they don't have this restriction. Whenever you touch them, they will just give you the boost regardless. So Everfrost Peak is resolved here. I can do the Smoky Castle loading zone, see what's in here. 25 out of 47 balloons, more than halfway on the balloon count here. Crescent Island is very good. Oh yeah, definitely 40, sorry, there's 40 cutscene skips, not 47. I got a little bit caught up there in thinking about numbers. The Taj overworld and the Taj races and the overworld balloons do not have cutscenes tied to them, so there's 40 cutscene skips that you'd want to do in the race. You notably don't want to do cutscene skips on the boss races or the you don't want to do cutscene skips on the boss races, nor do you want to do them on the WizPig 1 race, which I guess is a boss race, but you don't particularly want to do them. I'm sorry, my brain is telling me that what I'm about to say is incorrect, so I'm like stuttering over my words, like, is this correct? And I'm really trying to think hard about this. I don't think it's correct, so I'm not actually going to say it. Moving on. Fun little thing you can do in Crescent Island is you're supposed to normally do this track on car. However, in plane and hovercraft, you can just ignore the ship entirely and just go around the outside like that, which is nice because it is much faster than going through the ship. If you get this in plane as well, there's a super easy out of bounds to do that can save you a bunch of time from not having to go around this particular section of ground. Even with the zippers that are here, it's just much faster to do that out of bounds and do a bunch of barrel rolls. You don't want to go too far out to the left whenever you're going around the ship there, because the checkpoint does not extend that far out of the ship. So if you go too far to the left, you can actually miss the checkpoint entirely and have to go back for it. Just like basically any other racing game, you have to make sure you hit the key checkpoints throughout the map, lest you run into a situation where you've missed the checkpoint and now the game doesn't actually know where you are, despite you knowing where you are. The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. I got the key. Bubble 1 is unlocked, so I want to hit this cutscene skip. Even 4 pause buffers like that would have been worth it, but unfortunately a little bit off on the next one. Re-enter here. So just gonna do the silver coin race here. Let's see what vehicle we got. We got plane, perfect. I can show off the out of bounds here. Well, I can show it off, but it's 2 lap, so I don't. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'll take the time loss to show it off just because it's cool. Normally, it does expect you to go. This track does expect you to go in those 2 separate pathways. I need to go back for that coin. You know what? I'm just gonna reset race. We'll do it again. We'll run it back. Remember the coins that I'm supposed to get along the way, and we'll run it back just because it's cool to show off.
Fair. Mind if I sneak in with a donation during the run back?
Send it.
All right, we have $25 from A Silent Harmony that says, go for it. They also would like you to send it. And great news, send it you are.
Nice.
And that went toward the Fusion suit for this Metroid Prime Randomizer suit selection. Fusion suit's quite a ways in the lead, but there's a couple runs left before Metroid Prime Randomizer. If you are a Prime suit girly, there's still time to make that happen. Get those donations in, get that Metroid Prime suit back in the lead.
All right. So here's the out of bounds. It's very simple. You just fly up over here. You don't have to actually do anything. You can hit the checkpoint for way out of bounds, skip that entire section. Normally this is where I'd fly around the outside. However, I did actually fail to get one of the coins right here specifically, so I need to go back onto the ship to pick it up. That out of bounds is much more useful whenever we can make use of it for more laps. It's actually kind of slow to have done it the way I do, but to have done it the way that I did there. However, it's fine. There we go. So that is done. We can head on out here. What is next? I have Tricky 1 active. Everfrost Peak. Okay, I need to find Smokey the Dragon, actually, is what I need to do. Smokey 1 is actually going to be the key to finishing this from the looks of it. So hopefully we can find Smokey 1 pretty quick here. So we'll head back into here. Actually, no. I wanted to go to Dino Domain, so I went to the Dino Domain entrance. I have to go to the Snowflake Mountain entrance to go to the Dino Domain loading zone in this. I am... a common thing that happens with Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer is forgetting what loading zone is where. It happens even to the best of runners. I do remember a showcase that was being done by Obio, where Obio forgot the location of a racetrack 3 times and had to find it again. Shout outs to Obio, one of the top runners for Diddy Kong Racing, extremely skilled at this game. Jungle Falls in Tricky 1 is actually very convenient because it means I can solve this, I can resolve this, and it also counts towards getting Tricky 2 as well. So that's very nice. A plane here. Oop, that is not the positioning I wanted there. Oh, we'll carry it forward. Well, I currently don't have a talking point that I can do right now, so happy. If you have any messages to share, you can do so, but if you have any questions, you can also send that as well.
Ooh, always a little bit of both. We've always got a little bit of both. Let's talk a little bit first about our charity partner, Point of Pride. We are raising money for Point of Pride this weekend, a trans-led 501c3 nonprofit organization. They've served tens of thousands of people in all 50 states and 100 plus countries by providing access to gender-affirming health and wellness services. And all the money we raise will go to their various support programs, including their annual transgender surgery fund, HRT access fund, free chest binders, all kinds of really cool concrete work that they do that really helps trans folks, not just in the US, but around the world. So get those donations in to support that incredible charity. We've got lots of time. We got lots of Diddy Kong. It's good vibes around these parts.
Yeah. We love ourselves some Diddy Kong Racing. All
so
right.
I don't know if you mentioned amongst all the various things, but do you... Obviously, for specific tracks, like some tracks are easier on a certain machine, but do you have one that just kind of feels best for you personally?
Yeah, it's definitely because it's pretty much the easiest one to get used to, but the car is certainly the most fun vehicle for me on like a basic level. As said, it is the easiest one to get used to, but it also feels like for the stages that it's designed to be on, the car just feels incredibly well polished, and taking advantage of the few things you can do to speed up with it is very satisfying. But whenever you can get a track where you can use the plane to its fullest extent, it is incredibly satisfying because the skill ceiling of the plane is so high. When you can constantly be improving with it, it is incredibly satisfying in and of itself. Nice. Cutscene skip on both Jungle Falls, so that resolves Tricky 1's loading zone. One of these, I think, was... Okay, here's Whale Bay. Do I want to do this right now? Yes, I can. I can do this just fine. Nice. Geometry. Good. Very good. Sometimes the hovercraft, it do get stuck in things. That is just how it goes. Not the hovercraft, sorry. Sometimes the car just gets stuck in geometry. That's just how it goes. When I mentioned the track being designed for it, the moment the geometry of the track is not designed for car, watch out. Because you can and will just enter very weird situations where you are stuck in geometry, it is impossible to move, and yet you must continue forward. Oop. Did not get the right positioning for that, so I ended up hitting some invisible geometry there. That's nice. Moving on. try and do a properly timed barrel roll here. Not quite properly timed, but still good. So occasionally you will see me take a suddenly sharper turn than I would have been doing before. This is B-tapping. B-tapping will give you, whenever you hold the B button, you get tighter control of your turn. And the trade-off, obviously, is the B button is the brake button, so you end up losing speed by doing this. But in some situations, especially in the case of plane, where, again, pressing the A button actually decelerates you more than just letting you don't decelerate as much in the plane as you do. I want to do Greenwood Village, but I don't know where Tricky One is. Where do I want to go right now? Back to Sherbert. That's where I want to go. Sherbert was in Snowflake Mountain. Okay. Because I have the Bubbler 1 loading zone active. A lot of verbal thinking out loud, my thought process, and how to solve the puzzle that is this randomizer.
Snowflake Mountain.
Is it this one? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so probably a good time to talk about what is required to finish this finish the seed. So the normal game of Diddy Kong Racing expects you to get 95%, like 98% of all collectibles. There's basically like 70 so quote-unquote collectibles in the game. Some are and some are not, like actual collectibles, but there's 70 instances of things that you have to finish. And the game expects you to get 69 of them. I can do Star City, right? I don't remember if I can do Star City. What was in that loading zone? I'm just going to go double check real quick in Future Funland what the Star City loading zone was, because I believe it was something that I could leave to the end. But if it's not, doing Star City would be a very bad option right now, because it would potentially enable a soft lock in that case. I'm just going to double check. It was Bubbler 2. Okay, so we can do that. Can we do that whenever? That depends if WizPig 1 is... That depends if WizPig 1 is a TT challenge or not. Well, either way, working on Haunted Woods. Oh, right, yeah, I can do this now, because I picked up the key in Crescent Island, so this is another loading zone I can do. Okay, here's Smoky 1. Okay, this is perfect. So now we can progress.
I don't know that I can blame you for needing to unlock some of these things out loud. This is very complicated.
Yeah, trying to make sure you avoid soft locks is definitely the biggest part of this, because I have to make sure I get a decent boost at the start here. Having no boost at the start of the Smoky race is very bad. Oh, my angle was wrong and I accidentally hit one of those. That's unfortunate. Trying to make sure you avoid soft locks is definitely the biggest part of it, because you can just be going through the motions, you can be locked in, focusing on the racetrack itself, and then you realize, oh wait, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. And then you run into a situation where you are now forced to do something a little silly in order to finish up the seed, which the one seed that I had theoretically soft locked earlier the other day was a seed where I did the Star City race before I did Spaceport Alpha, and I was supposed to do them in the opposite order, meaning that the loading zone for Star City, which whenever you've unlocked the Silver Coin Challenge for Star City, is 46 balloons out of a total of 47. I could not get in there, because I was at 45, and I needed what was in there to get 47, so I had to soft lock the seed, quote unquote. However, there is a way to get around that, and that's because, fun fact, the Smokey the Dragon races, both 1 and 2, have out-of-bounds golden balloons that count towards the total of Dragon Forest. And this is the exception I mentioned to boss loading zones, the second of the boss loading zones, eliminating the first loading zone whenever you do them, whenever you activate them. This is because the second boss loading zone is only active at 8 total balloons in an area. If you reach 9, it goes back to the first boss loading zone. So you can use that to get access to the first boss loading zone of Dragon Forest again. But you can also do that to avoid soft locks like the situation I mentioned by getting that out of bounds balloon. However, the logic of these seeds that I'm doing does not actually expect me to do that. You can enable the logic of the seed to expect you to get those out of bounds balloons. However, for the sake of this marathon, I figured having that setting off would be simpler and easier, and I would make use of it if necessary, and only if necessary. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a pain. I had never done the Smoky one out of bounds until that seed the other day, so not very practiced on it, even if I know what to do. All right. Another 4-lap here. What is the last one I have my button? I think it is to the left here. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll get on the next lap. That's fine. I have one more lap of. I have one more lap, so I can make that mistake and continue forward. I missed it. You wanna definitely try and hit every zipper and boost that you can. There we go. Have all of them, can finish it up here. But yeah, so I need to go back to Bluey 1's loading zone. Missed the cutscene skip, but that's fine. Need to go back to Bluey 1, do Boulder Canyon. That will enable me to finish Snowball Valley and activate Bluey 2. Also good because that can start counting towards Dragon Forest's second loading zone. Just gotta double check these loading zones here. Ancient Lake, Hot Top. I haven't done either of these. For either of these silver coin challenges. So this is guaranteed to be the plane. It's 2-lap, which is a bit unfortunate. But let's see if we can find a blue balloon somewhere along the path here. Because Hot Top Volcano, so there's one right there. Would ideally like to find one through this section. There is one there, unfortunately I do have to go to this point. Okay, I will show this off, but I won't be able to take full advantage of it. Many plane tracks in the game have out of bounds. Some of them are much harder than others to get. In the case of Hot Top Volcano, you can go out of bounds basically anywhere where there's lava. And you can just navigate out of bounds, which is much faster than doing it inbounds. So we go out of bounds there, allows us to avoid navigating through the entirety. We go back out of bounds at the very end because it is faster to hit these zippers to finish up the race here. Fun fact, there is an out-of-bounds loading zone beneath the start line in Hot Top Volcano, which in the main game is used for wrong warps. And that is an integral part of the regular 100% route for this game. However, we don't need it for randomizer with one exception, or two exceptions. Number one, that loading zone can be randomized to go to a random track, so you can be expected to do the Hot Top Volcano out of bounds for the loading zone there. And number two, that loading zone is also useful for a glitch known as trophy storage, which I will not be doing because the randomizer does not expect the logic for it. However, it is possible to get the trophies for other worlds using the Dino Domain trophy race, because you can... I'm just making sure. Okay, there's the point. You can use the out-of-bounds loading zone to leave the trophy race in the middle of the Dino Domain one, and then, for example, go to Dark Moon Caverns and get the trophy for Future Funland by finishing that race, because the game doesn't take you out of the trophy race state. So the next stage you finish will be considered a part of the trophy race, and then it says, oh, what race were you just in? Oh, you're in the Future Funland race. So that means I should give you the Future Funland trophy, right? And that's very convenient, but we will not be making use of that here. So that is everything from Dino Domain races. We now want to go into Bluey 1 here, because we can do the Boulder Canyon Silver Coin Challenge. This will allow us to resolve Bluey 1's loading zone and allow us to safely grab the second loading zone for Louie. Just gonna focus up here. Happy, if you have any questions or messages, take it away.
Ooh, you better believe it. We've got a few donations coming through, like this $50 from Wonder J. There's no comment on that, but incredibly generous. Thank you so much. As well as $25 from the lovely Zokubun that says, imagine geometry not being a problem. Best of luck, Fluffy. And both of those donations went toward the Metroid Prime suit in that Metroid Prime versus Fusion suit bid war. And I'm going to refresh real quick because I think that puts them a little bit closer together in the race. Oh, indeed. That brings the Metroid Prime suit up to just about $100. Fusion suit's still leading, but we are narrowing the gap.
Yeah. If you like to see that Prime suit, get those donations in, everybody. Personal opinion time. I think the Varia Fusion suit looks very ugly, and I don't want to see it. So give me that Prime suit. Lamau. It's just the color palette is just like, I don't like the color palette of it, but the Fusion suit looks really good otherwise. It's specifically just the Varia variant of it that I'm like, not a fan of that one. Let me just say. Also, shout out to Zokubun, one of my favorite hosts to work with for these events. Have worked with Zoku a lot in the past. Very much appreciated.
I'm a lifelong Zoku fan. If Zoku has no fans left, then both of us are dead.
True. All right, as we're finishing up Boulder Canyon here, this is the specific thing. Right, okay, so I didn't get to finish my point earlier about what you're expected to do to beat the seed. The vanilla Diddy Kong Racing game expects you to get like 98% of all collectibles in order to finish the seed. So you can circumvent that with different things. What was in here, just so I'm double checking? I think this was like Darkwater Beach or something. Yeah, it was Darkwater Beach. Okay. Go back to Sherbert. Can do Snowball Valley now. What was in the Star City loading zone again? I've already forgotten.
I should be taking notes so I can be helpful.
Yeah, it was Bubbler 2, right? Okay. So I don't want to do that right now, actually, which is a little bit annoying. But there is always a chance that whatever is in the WizPig 1 loading zone is not a TT Amulet race. And I don't have the ability to confirm that. So there is a chance I may not want to do that. If the Star City loading zone was a TT Amulet challenge, or it was like vanilla Star City, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. If it was WizPig 1, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because there's a specific potential, I need to be able to enter that loading zone. So there's a chance I may have to do it regardless, but there's also a chance that doing it could soft lock the seed. So for now, I have to leave it until I have no other option, effectively. Which does mean... Loading zone with Star City in? I've already forgotten. It was one of the boss loading zones. I just did that without doing all the silver coins. No, I've done this already. What? Oh, I did this already. Okay.
It was just so fun you wanted to do it twice.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Okay. Windmill Plains. That's what I wanted to do, not Haunted Woods. I want to leave Greenwood Village for now. Oof. I'm actually struggling to think about what I want to do here. Because with that soft lock potential in my head, there's the realization that I might need to get up to 42 balloons just to guarantee that I don't soft lock, but I'm not sure I can get up to 42 balloons without doing it. Mostly because if it is blocking off one of the boss loading zones, then there's always the chance that if it's in the first of the two boss loading zones, and there's always the chance that I have to do it regardless. The bet to make would be to say, actually, no, I'm realizing the two loading zones I don't have the ability to check at all are Wizpig 1 and Future Funland. I have the ability to check every other loading zone, with the exception of Bubbler 2 and Smoky 2. Okay, so no, I would not be able to confirm it. I need to get all these coins. Where are the ones that I have missed? I'm like going through the motions, flying through the track, and then also trying to think about my path forward in the randomizer.
It's a lot to think about. Rando is a very mentally taxing experience. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to the normal amount of speed running just being, especially like a 3-hour run is exhausting. But then on top of that, you have to like make so many decisions.
I think it was Bobbler 1's loading zone, right? Just double checking here. This is Star City. Okay. I guess I'd go back to Dino Domain real quick just for now to do Tricky 2's loading zone.
Snowflake Mountain.
Can also take the time to double check Dragon Forest or Smoky 1's loading zone. I think Smoky 1's loading zone was something I could do with no issue, but worth double checking just because it is a certainly smarter, I think, to mark down what is in certain loading zones, but it also takes time, and sometimes it's not as beneficial to spend the time writing it down. Okay, well, Tricky 2 is Wizpig 1, so this gives me time to think for a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking a look at this. I believe I have to do Star City in order to get the balloon count I need for other races. And also, I likely will need whatever is in the Smoky 2 loading zone to progress forward. I think the logic of the seed is saying that Wizpig 1 has to be one of the TT challenges in this case. That being said, I'm going to make a risk. I don't have a way to 100% confirm this. However, the logic gives me like roughly an 80% chance of this being not a soft lock. So I am going to go ahead and do Star City once I'm done with the Wizpig race. Also, Hovercraft in the Wizpig race, definitely the hardest vehicle to do well on, but also gives you the safety net of if, for example, you fall down here, well, it's not nearly as punishing as if you fell down in car, for example. So even though Wizpig's got ahead of me here, I should very easily be able to. Come on. Okay, well. I should at least be able to finish. But
no!
Not if I get stuck in location. Alright. So yeah, just thinking about the logic of the seed, there's roughly an 80% chance that the seed expects me to do it for the total balloon count of Star City and also to resolve it so that I can get access to the Bubbler 2 loading zone. So that being said, I am going to go ahead and do those 2 balloons in Star City. It does open up the potential for soft locking myself, but if I do soft lock, quote unquote, there is a way that I can get around the soft lock that might take me a little bit, but is going to be the safety net I have to make that decision. So I'd ideally like to avoid having to do it because I'm not super proficient at it, but there is a way to get out of bounds in the overworld that would allow me to enter the Wizpig 1 loading zone in case of not great. All right, so we're done with the Wizpig 1 race. I'm going to listen for an audio cue here. I may have done that early. We'll have to see later. But whenever the cutscene starts for Wizpig throwing a temper tantrum, the game has saved the flag that you have completed the Wizpig 1 race. And that finishes all the stuff that would have been on the overworld on the tracker. And you do need to do the Wizpig 1 race in order to access the future Funland loading zone, because that, alongside the drift races, I am not playing as Diddy, is needed to access that loading zone. Okay, so...
How would you say we look compared to estimate right now?
We're at like, what, roughly 125 or so right now?
Yeah.
I'd say we're still pretty good on pace. We've gotten 35 of the 47 balloons. We should definitely finish ahead of estimate here. Got to double check some information here. What was in Smoky 1's loading zone. Awesome Canyon, so this is resolved, so I can do Greenwood Village whenever to get Smoky 2. Double check the information here, finish that, Have I finished that? Yes, I have finished that. Bluey 2 is finished, and Dark Moon Caverns I do have to avoid for the time being. What was it here? Okay, and that is resolved too. Okay. So now I know my path forward. We go over to Sherbet Island, we do Star City, and then we finish up Greenwood Village, come back to Dragon Forest for Smoky 2.
Yo, let's go Dragon Force. What's your favorite Dragon Force album? Wait.
I don't think I understand this reference.
It's a
Dang it.
power metal band.
It does sound like...
You are likely familiar with Through the Fire and the Flames.
Oh, Dragon Force.
From its
okay.
inclusion in Guitar Hero.
I definitely thought you were talking about Dragon Forest as a band, not Dragon Force. So I understand. No. I understand the disconnect there. I now understand.
Yes, you see, I was relying on the lowest form of comedy, word sound like other word.
Understandable. All right. So, doing both, because Star City is part of the Future Funland tracks, the Future Funland tracks do not have the first version of a boss race, meaning that the moment that you complete them, the Silver Coin Challenge for them is unlocked. You don't have to do a boss race to do it. Meaning that unlike the other hub world tracks, where we would have to have the first of their respective boss races done in order to get access to the Silver Coin challenges, and subsequently the tool of being able to do a cutscene skip to restart race and immediately enter the Silver Coin challenge, we can just do that at any time whenever we do these tracks. I should have actually checked the Dark Moon Caverns entrance the last time I was in Future Funland, because I think that was Space Dust Alley or Spaceport Alpha, which are not, which is things I would have to avoid doing for the time being. But yeah, at the end of this, I'm hopefully going to be getting a cutscene skip, which should let me go straight into the Silver Coin Challenge, and... Hovercraft is not a vehicle I use on this very often. It is very possible for you to navigate this section without bumping into walls. It is, however, very difficult to do so. The one advantage that Hovercraft has, though, when it comes to other vehicles, is that you can actually get advantageous wall bumps. If you connect with the walls in certain ways at certain angles, you can actually bounce off of them forward through the track, giving yourself a little bit of extra speed. Unfortunately, missed the cutscene skip here, so we'll have to re-enter the loading zone. No biggie there. All right, as I go through the Silver Coin Challenge here, I'm going to focus up to try and do this fast. Happy, you can take it away with some messages.
Positively and also positively. Right, we do still have that bid war going on. The runner has made it clear. If you want to support LordFluffy, then you will help the Metroid Prime suit win out over the Fusion suit. And if you want to do that, we've got that exclamation point donate in chat. Look at that. Ooh, whoever just put that in chat must be so cool and pretty and good at their job. Just click that link, head on over, and you can donate directly to our charity sponsor, Point of Pride. For those of you who may have just floated in, who may just be here because you said, ooh, why are there 145 viewers on Diddy Kong Racing on any given Sunday? It's because this is Fireside Pride 2024. We are benefiting Point of Pride, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports all sorts of gender-affirming care for trans folks around the world. And we will be playing some video games the rest of the day. We have got speed runs from now until early tomorrow morning. And I mean very early, like right after midnight. But, I mean, have you looked at the rest of the schedule yet, Fluffy? Do you know what you're looking forward to most? Because I know the game I'm most looking forward to for the rest of this event.
It's definitely the Metroid Prime randomizer. Known Metroid Prime fan right here, sitting in front of you. This non-binary person known as LordFluffy. I love the Prime games, and I'm looking forward to that.
I think I'm most excited for Nightmare Kart because we got the Hoggers incentive, and that's going to be hilarious. But having done several events where I have hosted for Bash Prime and Metroid Master, and having seen Dangerous host for any first-person shooter of any kind, I think that Metroid Prime randomizer is going to be unbelievably good content. That is a stacked host, commentary, runner trifecta right there.
Yeah, shout outs to Bash Prime. Big fan of Bash's stream lately. Been a Metroid Prime speedrunner turned randomizer player that definitely still speedruns and does good at that. Recently got a Prime 2 Echoes PB, I believe. So big shout outs to Bash for that. Having a lot of fun in that stream community lately.
Yeah, Bash is a gift. Bash was actually a host and a runner on the Metroid Prime 1 and 2 multi-world randomizer for the very first marathon that I ever ran, and was like one of the first people to submit, and was just super supportive of the event from step one. So I have an extra big place in my heart for anything Bash does.
I personally have a I get timed out in the chat for this very often, but whenever Prime 2 Rando happens and Dark Samus at the very end of the randomizer gets centered, I always like to type "get centered, buddy" in the chat, which occasionally I get timed out for it, but it's worth it every single time. Every single time.
We did just get a 26-person raid from Free Enterprise. Thank you so much for that raid. I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark and say that is a Final Fantasy Free Enterprise channel. And indeed, it was. Looks like they were doing a community showcase today. Thank you so much for raiding over. Raiders, welcome to Power Up with Pride's Fireside Pride 2024. We are just doing some Diddy Kong Racing randomizer. And as certified randomizer enjoyers yourselves, you did come at a great time.
Yeah. And we once again seem to have Tricky 2's race in the car, so we can once again go for Tricky Skip here. Actually did not get the timing for the blue boost, but that's fine. So we're going to do the same thing. Okay, that's probably not going to work, but we'll run it forward just a little bit just in case. All right. We do have to get fairly high on this, so again, we want to mash that A button as we do this. No, wrong way again, so we'll try it again. This is still faster, even if you get it like 4th try than doing the race normally. It's when it gets to about 5th try that it starts being a bit slow. So there we go. Got it that time.
Wow.
So once again, the game, we hit an oscillating checkpoint. The game thinks we are way further up the track than we are. We hit a checkpoint, the game gets confused and says, okay, I think the race is done, and then lets us just finish the race. So that is both the Troy Key races done here. I need to go to do Greenwood Village to unlock Tricky 2, or not Tricky 2, Smoky 2's loading zone. I think that has to be Treasure Caves by process of elimination here. So it may not have to be Treasure Caves, but that's definitely the path forward, is to go find where Greenwood Village was. I think that was in Dino Domain. Pretty sure that was in Dino Domain. It definitely was in Dino Domain. Go to Dino Domain.
I love the slowly increasing confidence. I don't think it was. It probably wasn't. It was not. It was definitely not.
It definitely was.
It's Ron Howard voice. It was Dino Domain.
All right. Yeah, one of the signs of a randomizer going pretty fast is when you can mitigate a lot of overworld travel. In this particular case, there's a lot of that, so... Yeah, there it is. There's Greenwood Village. Okay. So... I'll do Greenwood Village, and I'll actually make a pit stop to the Dino Domain Trophy Race, because I can do that. Okay, very good. Avoided Greenwood Village in a plane for the Silver Coin Challenge. Blessed be the RNG. And also blessed be the Sacred Tree for all you Final Fantasy XIV raiders out there. You know what I'm talking about. So Greenwood Village does expect you to go on this alternate path to the left here in order to get a silver coin. That alternate path is extremely slow to go on and also very awkward to go through as well. So is typically avoided in every circumstance possible because of that, but you have to make a pit stop for it here. I'm going to try and pick up some of these balloons. I missed that coin again, but that's fine. We got one more lap for it. I also think I missed the one that was more to the right where that balloon was. Yeah, okay, I definitely missed it there. In an ideal circumstance, the skidding that we're doing here, the drifts, we can do so in such a way that we can avoid bonking into any walls outright. I'm going to hold on to this blue balloon here, try and drift into that. Nicely done. Get up this hill to get a little bit more speed. Get this guy, nicely done. Complementing self. Now, ideally, we skid and avoid all the walls here. Nicely done. Straight into that zipper, looking like an actual speedrunner. And we get the cutscene skip. Beautiful ending to that. All right. So before we go back to Dragon Forest to do the Smoky 2 loading zone, we're going to start the Dino Domain Trophy Race. As mentioned, in order to access the what is the Vanilla Future Funland loading zone, you do have to do all four. You have to get all 4 trophy races, beat WizPig 1, and then first place trophy race reward. You'd have to do all 4 of those for each of the original hub worlds. And then you have to beat WizPig 1 and then go touch the sign that is on the beach of the overworld. The key thing to note is that I need to look at my notes when I have a second, because I know there's another point I want to make here, but I'm blanking on it currently. In the time being, to remind, the lap count used in the silver coin races here is going to be the lap count that was used in the vanilla race early when we did it earlier on. So anything that was a 4-lap will be a 4-lap. Anything that was a 2-lap will be a 2-lap. And this is one of the ways that randomizer can get extended or shortened, is your luck with the lap count. And why trophy storage is sometimes actually slower as a glitch for randomizer, because you can run into a situation where the trophy race for Dino Domain is all 4 laps, and it actually takes longer to get to Hot Top Volcano if Hot Top Volcano's vanilla race was a plane. To get out of bounds, use the loading zone there for trophy storage. In this case, we can't do it anyway because the original race for Hot Top Volcano was a car, and car cannot get out of bounds and hit that loading zone. So don't have the capability to do that this seed, but just a thing to note. Occasionally, if you wanted to do trophy storage, it is actually slower to... Because of lap count, it'll be slower to do that normally. Or to do trophy storage than to just do the silver... To do the trophy race normally. I can speak. I can drive. Meow. All right. So we're just going to be going through all the tracks that we've done before. Won't really run into any sort of difficulty. The one thing I have to note is because I have Hot Top Volcano car, once I am done with Jungle Falls, the third of the 4 races in the trophy race here, I have to check the point total of the NPC character in second place. If that point total is less than 18, I do not have to worry about my placement in the final race. If it is 18 or higher, I have to make sure I get a high placing. Otherwise, it's possible, if I don't get a high placing in that race, to get second place in the trophy race, subsequently forcing me to do it again. So we'll have to pay attention to that. In the meantime, we'll just be going through races we've already seen with techniques we've already seen. Happy? Take it away.
Yeah, you know, we are sitting at a cool, confident $6,136 right now, which is unbelievable, incredibly generous. Thank you, everybody who has donated so far. But I think we can continue to make number go up, and I personally would be jazzed if we can push into that 6,250 region before the end of my shift. So from a purely selfish standpoint, if you're hanging out in chat and you're thinking, I haven't donated to a very good cause yet this weekend, I've got just the one for you. That's right. It's... Nah, I shouldn't do that. I was like, should I just make a joke and say a random thing that is not the charity? Obviously, it's Point of Pride. Point of Pride is fantastic. They do some really concrete, boots-on-the-ground work, providing access to HRT, gender-affirming surgeries, free chest binders and shapewear for trans femme folks. They do such incredible work, and it's so cool to know that the money you provide is going directly toward programs where the money is sent to people who need it to provide them with care. You know, there's a direct link from your donations here to the people who need it, and there's something very, very special about that. So pop that exclamation point donate in chat, get those donations in, and you can make 2 trans people's days better at once. 1, whoever gets the money from your donation through the charity, and 2, me, because I'll be happy if I have more donations to read. It's truly a win-win.
No, I fell into the drink.
Oh, no.
So, this is the unfortunate thing that can happen if you don't navigate properly through Hot Top Volcano in a car. You're just sort of forced to drive in the lava. And this can lead to a bad situation like what's happening right now, where Bumper managed to navigate a bit far ahead of me as an NPC. Thankfully, it looks like Bumper got stuck, but, you know, I'm having a little difficulty getting out of there. We go. But it's possible that if Bumper got too far ahead of me, Bumper would, in the same way that the NPCs are... I fell on again. In the same way that the NPCs deload when they are behind you, they can deload when they are too far in front of you, which would have caused Bumper to progress through the track to the point where there was no way I could catch up with him, guaranteeing that I get second or worse. But thankfully, I don't have to worry about what placement I get here, because the second place NPC for the trophy race, Pipsy, only had 17 points. This means that even if Pipsy gets 9 points, Pipsy will only be at 26 points, meaning that there is no way that Pipsy can get to the 27 points that I have, meaning that I am not at risk of getting second place in this trophy race. Hopefully this time we do not fall into the drink.
I believe in the dream.
Falling into the drink is a significant time loss here. Doesn't matter what placement we get, so we just have to navigate properly. It's all about speed, not necessarily your placement. But this is a good time to talk about CPU difficulty. So as mentioned, the CPUs, unlike other kart racers and racing games of this era, have no rubber banding whatsoever. They progress through the track at the same rate every single time. But for every subsequent subsequent time you would do the race, so starting with the vanilla, then silver coin, and then subsequently the trophy races, the NPCs actually get more difficult. In essence, they get faster. So this, what would normally be not a problem to finish this race in first, even with a few mistakes, can very easily turn into a situation where I cannot get first place no matter what I do. For the trophy race, thankfully, it doesn't matter. I can get like 5th place here and it's fine. As long as I get any points, we're good. So getting 3rd doesn't get the full points, but I still get first place for the trophy race, getting the first place prize and moving onward. All right, now that we're done with that, we're going to go to our navigation towards Dragon Forest, and that is in Sherbert Island entrance. Okay, so we go to the Smoky 2's loading zone. I think at which point we also do the Dragon Forest trophy while we're there, and then we should never have to enter Dragon Forest again. Nope. Dark Moon Caverns is in here, so I will have to enter it at least one more time. Noted. Moving on. All right. In terms of soft locks, at this point, I should be fine. There's like still small potentials for it, but for the most part, okay, Smoky 2, that's good. That means Bubbler is the last one.
If you can beat me again,
Where is Treasure Caves, actually? Treasure Caves is in Future Funland. That is in the Spaceport Alpha. I need 39, 40, 41 balloons for that. I'm currently at 39. I'm going to need to do another one of the Future Funland races, actually. Which means I'm going to have to double check in Future Funland what the loading zones are and knowing what I can and cannot do. Interesting. Thinking about the logic of the seed is important because logic, in terms of randomizer terms, this is one of the bullet points that I should have explained earlier but didn't. Logic is basically the programming and understanding that the understanding of what the game, of what is and isn't possible to randomize in a way that it makes it beatable. Logic can change based on the settings that you choose, but effectively, the logic is there to guarantee that the seed is beatable as long as you follow the correct path. And learning to read the logic is a skill for all randomizer players that do use logic settings. Because if you learn to read the logic, you can learn to read where the seed is pointing you towards, and subsequently what you do and do not have to do in any given particular circumstance. In the case of Diddy Kong Racing Randomizer, reading the logic is important to help you prevent soft locks, and you don't want to soft lock. Okay, that's Smoky 2. I have 39 balloons, so I have access to what's in the Space Dust Alley loading zone. I also have Dark Moon Caverns that I can do, but I don't want to do Dark Moon Caverns lest that go to 44 balloons required, and I need to do what's in there. So I think we can do the trophy race for now. That's not going to work. That's not going to be an issue to do the trophy race right now. We do this. 148, 147. Yeah, 147 right now. Yeah, I should still be easily ahead of estimate here. Might take another hour depending on how much overworld navigation I'm forced to do here, which is a pretty decent amount for sure. And the fact that I have to do 3 more trophy races after this. One thing to note is that the randomizer has 100% in ATR settings. The 100% settings don't actually require you to do the trophy race for Future Funland. However, doing the trophy race for Future Funland I would only really skip doing that in the situation where I was like already overestimate. All right, we need to get the marathon moving type of deal. While it's not required, I did make the category randomizer 100% and not randomizer 98%. So we are going to do that trophy race, even though it is not technically required. But one thing we are going to try and do is save the last instance that we do, the last instance we do before the final boss race against WizPig 2. We're going to try and save that to be a TT Challenge amulet. Because if you get 47 gold balloons, you have completed, which also implies that you've completed every single race from the Future Funland races, and then you have all 4 pieces of the TT amulet, you will get the cutscene that puts you into the WizPig 2 race the next time you enter Future Funland, which, if you want to do the trophy race, forces you to watch the entire cutscene and then return to lobby to go drive over to the trophy race, and then re-enter the WizPig 2 door later anyway. So we typically want to have the last thing we do be a TT Amulet race so that we can do the trophy race, avoid having to leave the WizPig 2 race just to go do that trophy race. Anyway, that was me yapping about funny little quirks of Diddy Kong Racing design, which is also funny because the way that design works, in normal gameplay, you probably found all four pieces of the TT Amulet by the time you reach Future Funland. So in normal gameplay, if you actually wanted to 100% the game, you are forced to watch that cutscene and then also forced to leave back to the lobby to go do the trophy race, and that is very silly. Very silly. Bullet points. Anything to talk about here? Nope. I got nothing right now, so, hey, Happy, you got any questions for me?
What is the worst seed you've ever gotten for a Diddy Kong rando? Have you had a run that was just all bad all the time yet?
Yeah, the worst seed I've ever gotten is where each of the 4 normal loading zones, normal hub worlds, Dino Domain, Snowflake Mountain, Sherbet Island, and Dragon Forest were each in separate loading zones on the overworld. And in order to properly progress through the seed, I had to leave each loading zone for another race basically every new balloon I collected. There was so much overworld travel in that seed. What is normally in these settings, I can typically finish around the 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes mark. That seed took me 3 hours and 10 minutes because of how much overworld travel I was forced to do. Which, depending on circumstance, overworld travel can easily add multiple minutes to your seed. So anytime you can avoid it, you typically want to do it. But in that seed, I was 100% forced to do it basically every new balloon I had to collect. It was not fun.
It's awful.
Yeah. All right. We are coming up to the end of this trophy race here. This will be 2 out of 4 for the main worlds. And as mentioned, you need to get first place in each of the trophy races. The first place trophy in each of the trophy races, alongside completing WizPig 1 in order to get access to the Future Funland loading zone. And that loading zone has a whole cutscene tied to it, where the lighthouse turns into a rocket ship and takes off into the sky. And I think it is very funny when the rocket ship takes off into the sky, and then puts you on a beach level. It's just like, this was the most expensive beach vacation of my life. A little bit of difficulty navigating here. There was a mine there? What?
There
I didn't
was,
see it.
there was so much space between you. That was like the widest hitbox of all time.
I didn't even know it was there. I didn't even see it. I'm like, huh? I didn't see anything. Wow. Okay. I have to make a detour back to Future Funland because I need to check what is in the Space Dust Alley and Darkmoon Caverns entrances. Because I am going to need 41 balloons to access the Spaceport Alpha entrance for treasure caves in order to progress through here. But I don't know if it's safe to do Darkmoon Caverns right now or not. Because if it's not safe to do Darkmoon Caverns, then I have to do Space Dust Alley instead. So Darkmoon Caverns is Space Dust Alley, and Space Dust Alley is Spaceport Alpha. 39 plus 4 is 43. This would give me... Okay, so I do have to do Darkmoon Caverns first. Okay, gotcha. Making sure everything works out in my brain here to not soft lock. So we do Spaceport Alpha. That gives me... So we do... No... Right, Treasure Caves. Treasure Caves will give me 43, then I can enter Space Dust Alley, which is Spaceport Alpha, and that would be safe at that point because I've already resolved what's in Spaceport Alpha. And okay. Yeah, I see the path. The path has been revealed to me. I see it. I'm using my eyes. I understand. This is Darkmoon Caverns Plain. Okay, is this... Okay, it's 2 laps. I'm not going to get to show this off for long. But Darkmoon Caverns Plain kind of sucks. It's not my favorite track in the game, but it does have one of the funniest out of bounds. It's funny for 2 reasons. Number 1 is this track is way more checkpoint gated than other tracks in this game. In most other out of bounds, you only have to hit like 2 to 4 key checkpoints along the track. However, for Spaceport Alpha, you fly out of bounds literally right here. You can just go out of bounds and nothing stops you. But then for actually progressing through, there's like 6 or 7 key checkpoints that you have to hit, making it pretty difficult to avoid. Yeah, like right here, I've accidentally missed a key checkpoint. That's a little bit over here. It makes it very difficult to do like extremely good navigation out of bounds. But the key thing is right here. There is a part of this level where you're supposed to do this little loop. You have to do this entire loop. Otherwise, the game will not let you progress as you have not hit the key checkpoints. All right, there we go. First one of Darkmoon Caverns. Missed the cutscene skip, but it's kind of hard to get cutscene skips when you are out of bounds. But a very funny out of bounds to have there. Let's see what the Silver Coin Challenge offers me. Okay, car 3 lap. Very basic, but also very appreciated. Because basic is good in this particular instance. Fortunate. So yeah, as mentioned earlier, because there is no boss race besides Witzbig 2 for Future Funland, you don't have to complete a boss race tied to Future Funland to unlock the Silver Coin challenges, so you can just re-enter right away. If we'd gotten the cutscene skip, could have just hit reset race to go right into it. One little thing that I haven't really mentioned that's only applicable a couple times is whenever you are going through loop-de-loops like that, if you hold to the right of the loop-de-loop, you actually go through the loop-de-loop faster than if you would go through it just normally. And I don't really get exactly why, but I believe it's like holding to the right puts you, makes you actually travel less distance because you don't have to travel through as much of the overall loop-the-loop. I think that's generally how it works, but yeah, anytime you're going through the loop-the-loops right like this, just hold to the right. You'll go through them like a second or so faster than otherwise. Especially this one where you just hold to the right and then hold R. You'll bounce off the wall, immediately enter the perfect angle for a skid for going into the final part of this level. Dark Caverns may not be one of my favorite levels in the game. However, in cases like that, there are silly little optimizations you can do all over the place to make this appealing at a higher level. Not quite at that higher level myself right now, so I still have a bit of that bias. But there is a very funky thing that you can do, bouncing on the walls here to skip these loop loops entirely. Very difficult to do. Only like a high level runner can really pull them off consistently. But I don't have to ever come back to Dragon Forest at this point. Dragon Forest is resolved. I have to go back to Snowflake Mountain, then Future Funland for treasure caves. Okay. Path is there. I can do the Snowflake Mountain trophy whenever, so I might as well do that right this second. This will be the third of 5 trophy races. I think it was relatively kind to me. I don't think it gave me many 4 laps for this one versus the Dino Domain trophy race, which was 3-4 laps, and then Hot Top Volcano Car 3 laps. That did not go well. Very silly randomization. Okie dokie. While I get this going, Happy, if you have any messages, feel free to send them.
Who?
Happy?
Who? Is this working for you?
I got confused.
Live feedback. Is this a good joke?
Is this anything, chat? Is this anything?
Chat, is this... Where are we at? How are we feeling? Well, chat. I see that number go up on our viewership, which ostensibly means there are some folks here who weren't here last time I said this. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is Fireside Pride 2024. We are running games from December 12th through December 15th, benefiting Point of Pride. If you want to find out more about them, you can type !charity in chat or scroll down to the panels below the stream. If you want to donate to support Point of Pride, !donate in chat will get you there. Or you can find the schedule for the rest of the upcoming games with !schedule. Or you can see incentives with !incentives. Lots of information that you can find with those chatbot commands. And we do still have a bid war going on to choose the skin for our Metroid Prime randomizer run at the end of the day. So if you have some strong opinions about the Prime suit versus the Varia Fusion suit, I know exactly one way that you can have your opinion heard, and it's donating toward that bid war.
So, something I do want to mention, and this is like not really related to the game for the most part, is kind of related to the game. Diddy Kong Racing can be very intensive on the hands. I have done a situation where I've done 2 seeds in a row, and then I've come out of it, and the amount of pressing the R button, holding the R button, especially because you're holding the R button the entire time when you're driving in a hovercraft, all the skids, all the A-tapping, your hands can come out of it pretty sore. And as somebody who's been doing a significant amount of practice for quite a few marathons and showcases this month, I've had 4 scheduled for this entire week, which 2 days ago I was on GDQ Hotfix for Final Fantasy XIV Ultimate Shadowbringers. 2 days from now I will be on really long-a-thon for Ocarina of Time co-op randomizer. My hands have been very sore. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your mandated LordFluffy section of the Marathon Showcase. To stretch your hands, take care of your hands, take breaks, okay? and take care of those digits of yours. Do not be like me, where a few years ago you neglected the health of your hands while playing a lot of high APM games and almost had to have surgery on them. It's not worth it, okay? Take that time, 5-10 minutes, do some hand stretches every few hours if you're going to be doing a lot of high APM games back to back, okay? And also make sure to just rest them at a certain point during the day. Sit down, watch some TV, right? Give yourself an hour of having your hands do nothing. It'll be very worth it for you, I promise. This has been your LordFluffy mandated hand health PSA. Back to the video.
Love hand health in this house.
All right. So, final thing here is Frosty Village, and then we will have access to Future Funland. We go to do Treasure Caves. We will then leave Future Funland. We will go to Sherbet Island. We will do the Bubbler 2 loading zone. Then we will do the trophy race for that. That will give us 4 out of the 5 trophy races. But key thing, it will give us the 4 out of the 4 trophy races for the normal overworld, like the original, the first part of the game. How do I describe this? The first 4 loading zones, the first 4 hub worlds, all 4 of their trophy races are required to normally access Future Funland, which is the 5th hub world. And once we have the 4th one from Sherbet Island, we'll have access to the Future Funland loading zone, which, by process of elimination, has to be one of the TT challenges, I think. Yes, it does have to be at this point, based on what is in the Future Funland loading zone. Because the only loading zones that I don't know at this point are WizPig 1, Future Funland, and Bubbler 2. And I believe all 3 of those loading zones, yes, all 3 of those loading zones have to be a TT challenge. Okay, good to know. I have correctly used the information in my noggin to properly deduce numbers and logic. All right, so that is the Snowflake Mountain Trophy. 3 out of the 4 done. Next up is going to be heading into Future Funland, do treasure caves in there. Getting both of those balloons will give us access to the Bubbler 2 loading zone. And from there, we should be completely safe to avoid a soft lock. I forgot which one was Future Funland. It was this one. Okay, so this loading zone is Treasure Caves. This is Spaceport Alpha. It was very important that I did not do Spaceport Alpha. Otherwise, this requirement would be 45 instead of 41, and that would pretty much guarantee soft lock me in that situation. So, good thing to avoid. Treasure Caves 2 laps is also both very good and very sad. Treasure Caves, oh, well, I messed up the pathing here. Oopsie daisies. Treasure Caves is one of my favorite tracks to do, even in just like a time trial setting. Very fun to navigate through, but only being 2 laps means I don't get to do it for a whole lot, so good and bad thing. It's fast, but it's also too fast. I want more. Unfortunate. Get this cutscene. Oh, didn't get it. Slightly late. No worries, can just re-enter the loading zone, because thankfully it won't go up from the 41 requirement. Okay, bullet point here. We do also miss out on the jam of Treasure Caves. Treasure Caves has one of the best tracks in the game, which I guess that's a bullet point. Shout out to David Wise, the composer for Diddy Kong Racing. David Wise, alongside Grant Kirkhope, were composers for Rareware in their heyday and produced some of the best soundtracks in gaming history. Shout outs to both of them. Mostly David Wise for this absolutely fantastic soundtrack of Diddy Kong Racing. No, yeah. I can't. The main thing here is I like to do some bits where I like to sing along to the music sometimes. However, because I know I'm capturing this via capture card and I can't hear the capture card's audio, I'd be doing my little doots and das to the sound coming from my TV, which is desynced from what you'd be hearing on the capture card, and nobody wants to hear that.
All the more reason to sing along.
What am I doing? I needed to go to Sherbet Island, and my brain was like, all right, to the Sherbet Island loading zone, which is definitely in Sherbet Island, right? No, it's in Snowflake. Oh boy. When you do a lot of thinking, it can really cause you to just have your train of thought completely derail, and you just start going to the wrong location, thinking about something else. Okay, Icicle Pyramid. There's a blue balloon right there. Is there a red balloon up top? There is not a red balloon up top. Okay, so if there's not a red balloon up top, for the sake of going fast, we want to go to the lower level. We're trying to find a red balloon on the lower level here. Very possible that we won't. Okay, here's one here. Okay, so this is perfect. So in these battle challenges, the AI will actually move in relation to where you are on the map. And so for doing these battle challenges, it's best to try and be in specific places, which will cause the AI to move in relation to you, which can cause you to have situations like this, for example, where I got to have a where did Pip? Oh, there's Pipsy. I was like, where did Pipsy go? What? The boost is too fast. But you can run into situations like this where you can get very advantageous positions and get multi-hits on the NPCs, being able to take them out faster. Didn't quite work out that I could take out both Pipsy and Bumper there, but shouldn't be a big deal here. That did not lock on for some reason. That also did not lock on for some reason. Why did that one hit, huh? You know what? I'm not going to question it. Diddy Kong Racing, everyone. Alright, now Pipsy's at 2 HP, so we're just going to chase her down. We chase her down here. I'm stuck. Okay, there we go. Okay, once we chase her down, we'll take the shot, take her out, and that is Icicle Pyramid done. And yeah, it is faster inherently to just camp a red balloon in specific locations, because as mentioned, the AI moves in these battle challenges in relation to your position. So it is just much more convenient, basically, to... Why can't... I don't have Bubbler 2. Right. I cannot do the trophy race because Bubbler 2 is accessible to me now, but... Oh, I could have done it when I was in Future Funland last. You know what? That's okay. We don't think about these things because you're thinking about so much already. I need 46 because I already did Star City. Okay, so I couldn't have done it. That's fine. Space Dust Alley. 44. Right, okay, so I can do Spaceport Alpha, because what's in Spaceport Alpha is resolved. I don't have to worry about that. That gets me enough to then do Space Dust Alley. Right, I'm remembering the path of this randomizer. Okay. Oop. Meant to press A there for speed. So Space Dust Alley is a track that is a good one to talk about, because the reason why the speedruns for Diddy Kong Racing are done on the Japanese version of the game is because there's actually a version exclusive out of bounds in Spaceport Alpha, specifically in the Japanese version of Diddy Kong Racing. The Diddy Kong Racing randomizer is based on the North American version of the game, So we don't have access to that out of bounds here in Spaceport Alpha, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I do, if I remember correctly, the Rando dev is working on making the randomizer compatible with the Japanese version, which would give us that that additional out of bounds. Oop, you got shot there. And the reason the out of bounds exists is there's just a missing texture, like a missing part of a wall, in the Japanese version for some reason that you can just get out of bounds with. That is present in the North American version. So, as a result of that, speedruns are typically done on the Japanese version because they're faster in that regard. The exception to this, and this is probably a good time to segue into another bullet point I have here, which is talking about actual speedruns of Diddy Kong Racing. The exception to this is categories that don't make use of that out of bounds, such as any percent glitchless, where there virtually isn't a difference in speed between the versions otherwise. So, for example, let's just say you have a North American cart of Diddy Kong Racing. I missed the cutscene skip. Let's see if you have a North American version of Diddy Kong Racing and you think, oh, wow, I want to do speedruns of this. This actually looks like a lot of fun. You can learn any percent glitchless as like a very beginner-friendly category, which is something that was added about a year ago to the boards and has been wonderful for me specifically because it's been great for me to, alongside Randomizer, learn and get better at Diddy Kong Racing as a whole. And as I said, this game has a ridiculously high skill ceiling. You can constantly get better and better and better. You know, it's considered a huge achievement anytime you can get a sub 2 hour time in 100%. But the world record is sub 150. I believe it's in the 147, 146 range right now. I feel like it's even lower than that at this point, but yeah, the skill ceiling for Diddy Kong Racing is extremely high. And having a very beginner-friendly category like any percent glitchless is very good for that as well because of the... it just trains you to get better at what is the most important thing in the game, which is just being good at all the vehicles as well. There's other beginner-friendly categories as well, like all trophy races, where instead of going through the adventure mode, you just do all of the trophy races back to back to back from the stage select screen. You can do that. That's another great one to do as well. Okay. But yeah, Space Dust Alley. Yeah, right. This is the one I have to do. Okay, this puts me... So this is the last balloon race level, Space Dust Alley. Once we have this, we will have all 47 out of 47 balloons that are in the game in normal gameplay, meaning that the only things we have left to do are boss races and TT challenges. So, well, that and also 2 more trophy races. I want to say we're roughly about 30 to 35 minutes or so from the end of this seed.
Nice, we are zooming.
Maybe sooner than that, if the remaining things that I have to do go by very quickly. One of is Smoky Castle, which goes by very quickly. The other is Fire Mountain, which also goes by pretty quickly if done correctly. So maybe even sooner than that. We'll have to see. But I will give like roughly a 10-minute warning. But at this point, I guess I'm just saying it for staff. But this is probably a good time, if you haven't already, to call on the next runner to start getting ready. That is my communication to staff, and yeah. So I hope you all... Sorry. I hope you all have been enjoying this run so far. This has definitely been probably the most difficult run I've done in most difficult run I've done in recent memory of trying to do solo commentary while also playing the game. And I hope, regardless of that it has been an enjoyable experience for y'all. All right.
I'm having a lovely time.
I'm glad to hear it, Happy. Thank you very much. All right, so here we go. This is the last one. This is 3-lap plain So one thing to note, I guess, that I didn't know for the randomizer is that when randomization happens, the game has to consider what you're doing to be possible. So in the case of any silver coin challenges where the game normally has you in a plane and the silver coins are in places that are inaccessible to hovercraft and car, even if the racetrack is considered a valid track for the car and the hovercraft, the game will never give you anything but the plane in those silver coin challenges. So like, for example, in Hot Top Volcano, which is considered possible to beat in both hovercraft and car, will never give you hovercraft or car in the silver coin challenges. Otherwise, it would be impossible to complete the silver coin challenges. So there is logic to prevent that from happening, even if you can, for whatever reason, override that setting and make it possible to do, which it is technically possible in a very few specific circumstances, I think, like 1 or 2 for that to be the case. However, wouldn't recommend. Leave those settings alone. Don't override them. Trust me on this.
Honestly, really nice from the devs of like, it would probably have been easier to just like hard lock those tracks, right? Like, you need the plane on this, so you just can only use the plane on that track always. Like, it definitely took additional development work to figure out which times which tracks can be used with several options, and then tell the randomizer that that's okay in those circumstances. But it adds so much complexity and replay value to the randomizer that's super nice of the devs to put in all that extra time.
I missed the last cutscene skip, but that's going to be 47 of 47 balloons. So we're now going to head on over to Bubbler 2. And yeah, to build on that point, they could have just gone with what the game gives you or says is valid. So, for example, if you go to the track selection in the main menu, it lets you know, like, okay, so you can do car, hovercraft, or plane. The rando dev could have just said, yeah, we'll just take these as selections and leave it there, but then you wouldn't get situations like this where you can do the plane in Bubbler. So do you like barrel rolls? Because I like barrel rolls.
I have gotten the sense that you like barrel rolls.
Barrel roll. Do a
For the
barrel
last
roll.
2 hours and 20 minutes, I have seen you do at least 3 barrel rolls.
Yeah. So Bubbler's racetrack is one of those stages where it is entirely possible, if you are skilled enough, to press the A button exactly once in order to get the boost at the very start of the race. And then you can spend the rest of the race not pressing the A button at all and only doing barrel rolls, which this is kind of just like the peak of playing gameplay, which is never having to press the A button at all. And there you go. That's Bubbler 2 completely done without pressing the A button after the opening gambit, basically.
So you're saying peak plane gameplay and peak Super Mario 64 gameplay are the same?
Yeah. No A button. No A button challenge possible. All right. So that is the last of the second boss races. So now the Wizpig amulet is all fully complete. This means we have access to Wizpig 1's loading zone. Thankfully, the choice I made to do Star City earlier was in fact required to do, so this is guaranteed to be one of Smoky Castle or Fire Mountain, which means that we are now going to go back real quick to Sherbet Island. We do the last trophy race there. Then we will make our way to the overworld. We will do the Future Funland loading zone, and we will do Wizpig 1's loading zone. That will give us the TT amulet. I actually want to dip back into Future Funland before that to do the trophy race. I did not get the boost I wanted. Slightly early. That's okay. To do the trophy race just so that we don't have to worry about that later. Actually also convenient because I think it would be faster to quit to main menu at that point. Occasionally you're routing, because the loading zones can be like a long chain of hub worlds, anytime you would have to go through like 3 hub worlds or more to get back to the overworld, it's generally going to be quicker to save, to quit to the main menu, reselect the character and reselect the file to get back to the overworld that way. In this particular case, I don't think it's going to be that much slower to do, to just go through. I think, yeah, I have to go through 2 loading zones at that point, which isn't that much slower or faster. There isn't a chain of 3 hub worlds here. That's the confusing thing. There's 2 hub worlds in Snowflake Mountain, but it is not a chain of 2.
Pirate Lagoon.
So what I'm hearing is, yeah, I'll just do it because I think I can do it fast enough that makes it worth it, especially considering that I have to sit and watch 2 cutscenes once I get back to the overworld, which is going to be fun. Not super long. Here I am going through 2 tracks, Whale Bay and Pirate Lagoon, designed exclusively for use in the hovercraft in the plane. Fun fact, in both Whale Bay and Pirate Lagoon, if you are not in first place, the game does not put you in the first place starting position on the racetrack. You will just fall out of bounds until the race starts. And when you go out of if you go far enough out of bounds in Diddy Kong Racing, the game has a failsafe to warp you back to the start line. So thankfully, it doesn't put you in a situation where you are just incredibly far out of bounds. But it can lead to some awkward starts where you hit the A button, start a boost, and then because you're underwater, the game wants to force you back above water and does awkward things.
That's hilarious. That feels like such a, that's such an obvious thing you'd think you would find and fix in playtesting, and it feels like peak N64 that they were like, well, we don't have a solution for this, but we do have a failsafe for the consequences of this, so good enough.
Yeah, I should mention that specifically in those tracks, if you're in the plane, you'll fall out of bounds infinitely. Just because the plane doesn't interact with water in the same way that like hovercraft does, where it always, like right there, it always floats on it type of deal. Plane does not do that. The game just
says... You heard
says,
it here first, folks. Planes cannot float on water. Is that true? I don't know if that's actually true. I think planes are designed to float, actually.
I think there's definitely some planes that are meant to land on water too.
Yes, there are watery planes.
You stun blocked me with that one. I'm just like, how do I respond to this? I don't know how I respond to this one, to be honest with you.
Lizard says planes don't swim, which I mean, they're a lizard, so I trust that. Lizard wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah, absolutely not. Alrighty. So unfortunately, we didn't. We only got the plane in Treasure Caves. Oh my goodness, what is that placement of that mine? The advantage and disadvantage of balloons being randomized is you can get blue balloons where you wouldn't normally, and the enemies can get like green balloons where they also wouldn't normally, which means there are occasions like right there where mines that would never be there in normal gameplay are suddenly there, and having to navigate around them can be a real pain. Thankfully, those mines are only temporary. They never stay permanently in that spot, which is very helpful. Otherwise, the racetrack could be littered with them, and I'd have to avoid a deer in the headlights situation of it being directly in front of me and driving into it anyway, because it ain't moving. It ain't moving, and I have to be the one to move, so. Anyway, that is Treasure, Crescent Island done. Last up is Treasure Caves.
Treasure Caves.
2-lap car. So very unfortunate. Nice. I got caught on the wall. Sometimes, again, with the way that car is designed, you interact with certain geometry kind of weirdly, and that will cause you to You know, like just get stuck in geometry, and what would normally be like, oh, you have such a huge speed boost here, gives you no speed because you're getting applied a bunch of friction from being inside of geometry, and that's unfortunately what happened there. Treasure Caves walls do like to sometimes be a little trolly in that regard. That is the last of the trophy races for the original 4 hub worlds. Last up is going to be the trophy race for Future Funland. Then we have 2 more loading zones, 2 more races to do, or sorry, 2 more challenges to do, Fire Mountain and Smoky Castle, before we go into the WizPig 2 race. So I'd estimate we're roughly about 15 minutes from being done here.
Very nice.
All right. So once we're done with this, I'm going to quit the menu to go back to the hub world, take care of what's in the Future Funland and WizPig 1 races, and go from there.
Very cool. That means we have 15 minutes, folks, to hit that arbitrary number that I set that I want you to hit by the end of this run. But don't you want to make me happy and help me achieve all of my goals, even ones that I set? Just
Aren't you already happy though?
Yeah, it's like 2:45 where I'm at, so it's just about by 3 time. But that's what I'm saying. This is perfect. You've got about 15 minutes left. It's gonna be 3 in about 15 minutes. Chat, you have the opportunity to literally make me happy by 3. And doing that involves doing what our good friend Jack did, donating $25. No comment on that donation, but thank you, Jack. Super, super generous, super kind. And we've been getting quite a few of these bigger donations, like 25, 50. We got 200 a little bit ago. But just a reminder to folks in chat, every little bit is super, super helpful, right? Like, any amount helps. I'm not sure what the minimum is set to on Tiltify, but it's either $1 or $5, depending on the event. And that $5 can go a really, really long way for boosting our total up, supporting the charity. Like, if you're sitting there and thinking like, oh, well, I've only got $5. Oh, confirmed from Leggy, it is a $1 minimum on Tiltify. So yeah, even if you're thinking like you can only do $1 or $2, that's still hugely helpful and hugely appreciated. And I will gladly read all the $1 donations while we finish up this run.
Yeah, get those donos in, chat. You can, in fact, make happy by 3. Be happy by 3.
I believe in you so much.
All right, take advantage of the out of bounds here. You do have to be a little careful there that you're not going too close to the racetrack. It is notable that right there is a very high compared to the track invisible wall. So you do have to make sure that you're not... Okay, I did miss the trigger again here. Not quite 100% familiar where this trigger is, so be a little bit safe here. That should be it. Hopefully. It flashed very briefly with another wrong way, but I think based on the arrows appearing that I am good at this point. Yeah, I'm good at this point.
The poor game got so stressed. Like, the second you went out of bounds, the arrows pop up and it's like, wait, no.
Wait, no, go back.
The game's just trying to help point you in the right direction. And you're like, nah, bestie, trust.
Trust, I know where I'm going. What do you
mean?
mean?
Got a plan.
There is actually some silly checkpoint manipulation things that you can do. One of which is in Spaceport Alpha, where in Hovercraft and Car, I don't know exactly how to do it, but you can hit a checkpoint and then just turn around. Like, you hit a checkpoint in a very specific way that you just turn around, go backwards through the track to hit the next checkpoint you're supposed to do, and then turn around and drive through the track normally, and that counts as a lap, even though you didn't actually like do the entire lap itself. You just hit the key checkpoints. I don't know how to do it, but I have seen it done, and it is very silly to look at. To just watch like you turn around at a specific point, go all the way back to the next checkpoint, but in the opposite direction, and then turn around again. Very, very silly. Alrighty. I'm locked in. I'm focusing. I'm gonna have the best A-tapping, snaking hovercraft gameplay you've ever seen.
It's a great time for you to lock in because we've got a couple donations.
Send it.
We have $1 from Lakey Starscream that says, "Did someone say $1? Thank you to everyone who's been a part of this event, volunteers, runners, commentary, staff, team, and especially all y'all in chat watching and cheering. Thanks again for making this event the special and magical thing that it is." And it really has been magical. This has been so much fun. So this whole weekend has been good vibes. And we've also got $3 from Alice Rujasu that says, $3 for Happy by 3 hosting a 3-hour run. That's a lot of threes. And both of those went toward the Metroid Prime suit. The people have heard your preference, Fluffy. They are being supportive.
I appreciate it.
Number go up again.
Ooh.
We have $12.16 from Nihon Tiger. It says palindrome number.
My brain is blanking on what a palindrome is because all I am thinking about is Diddy Kong Racing. All I know is speed right now. Thank you very much for those donos, chat. We are coming up on the end of the run here after we're done with this last couple laps in Spaceport Alpha. We just need to do 2 more instances and then it will be the final race here.
I was trying so hard to figure out how it was a palindrome because $12.16 is not in fact a palindrome. But the donation total is now a palindrome with 6,177.16 is the same forward and backward.
Oh.
Okay, I was so confused. I was like, y'all, 1216 is not a palindrome. But race car is a palindrome. Good point, Hyperstrike.
Oh. My brain now understands what a palindrome is. I knew the word, I just couldn't in the moment remember it. I'm just like, I'm barrel rolling. You see this? I'm going.
You know, this is one of my dumb fun facts I happen to know. Do you know the longest English palindrome ever written?
I do
Would
not.
you like to guess how many words it is?
14.
No, it is a novel written in the 1980s called Dr. Awkward and Olsen in Oslo, which is a 31,595 word palindrome, I want to say. I'm going to Google it now because I might have that number wrong.
But
yes, it is over 31,000 for sure.
That is a very silly amount of numbers of words.
Yes, 31,594. And it's the same forward and backward.
All right. So here we are on the overworld. One thing left to do here. That is... Yeah, this is Smoky Castle. This one can go by pretty quickly. The goal of this is to pick up 10 bananas and take them to your particular lockbox. To take them all. Once you get 10, you're good. The key thing to note is you can only hold 2 bananas at a time. So you'll take advantage of skidding up slopes here to get up them faster than if you were driving up them normally. And we're going to try and go through this in a very specific way. Where we alternate between 2 different pathways that should always give us at least 2 bananas if we're doing it right. There we go. So after this, the last one will be Fire Mountain, and if everything goes right with Fire Mountain should be done in about a minute. We then navigate back to Future Funland. Once we're done with, once we navigate back to Future Funland, the cutscene to go into the Whizpig. Oh my goodness, Drumstick, what are you doing there? Why are you in my way? Why are you doing this to me? The cutscene to enter the Whizpig 2 race will activate, and we just need to take Whizpig 2 down in order to be done. Hops. Geometry. I love Diddy Kong Racing geometry and how it interacts with the car. It is very silly. All right.
It seems really consistent and reliable.
It sure is. All right. That is Smoky Castle done. Hopefully earlier, we pressed the reset button on the N64 at the right time in order to have gotten the credit for defeating WizPig 1, but also skipping the cutscene as soon as possible. There is a chance I did it early. I wasn't going to double... I messed up. Remember how I said that you shouldn't do the Future Funland trophy race before you do, the Future Funland loading zone itself? I did that. And the sign is no longer here. So... Whoopsie daisies.
Are we soft locked?
We are soft locked. However, we can fix this. We can fix
Let's
this. And by
go.
we can fix this, I mean I will simply just load another randomizer, and we can finish it that way.
Works for me.
We will just pretend that that didn't happen and move on. This is what happens when
We're doing
you
it
are...
live, folks. You know, if you're in chat right now and you're worried about donating because you don't want to ruin the palindrome number, just remember, an $11 donation would keep the palindrome alive. And then another $11 after that, and it would still be a palindrome. And then after that, you could donate, like, $1.10 to keep that going. Yeah, let's go with that. Nope, it never happened.
Okay. So, I'm just looking through the spoiler log of this other seed real quick just to know where to go. Because we're just gonna pretend like this is the same seed here real quick. I'm
Why are we
looking
pretending
through-
it is the same seed?
True.
You don't have to pretend.
Snowflake Mountain is that. Okay, so what I'm currently trying to find here in this is I'm trying to find where Snowflake Mountain is. Okay, it is in Dino Domain, and Dino Domain is in Dino Domain. So...
Dino Domain.
I agree, Tiger. Tiger in chat's like, I don't remember the last 90 seconds, but I'm very excited to see the end of this run on the same seed. Me too.
That was not supposed to be it, was it? No, it was. Okay, yeah. So this is where Fire Mountain has been the entire time. This is the last thing we need to get, and then we can go over to Future Funland and go from there. So once we get this, we will have all pieces of the TT Amulet. Once we get all pieces of the TT Amulet, we can head over to Future Funland, do the WizPig 2 race, and we will be done. So the strategy here is you pick up one egg from the center, you steal another egg from another person's little hatchery. You go and place that down, and then you go back to the center to pick up another egg from the center. Thankfully, did not get sniped from me here. Once you do that, you place the third one down. Ideally, this is where you would have 2 red balloons to have a homing missile to prevent anybody from stealing your third balloon. Seems like we're going to be safe on that front here. Yep, perfectly done. That is Fire Mountain done. We have done everything there is to do in the game, except we will just... we will be going here to where Future Funland was in this seed the entire time.
Correct.
Snowflake Mountain.
Which actually would have been faster for me to do this, now that I think about it, because this is one of those chain of three hub world loading zones here. One more swap with Taj over to plane. We'll fly on over to the Future Funland loading zone. And we will finish up here.
The palindrome has been broken.
Unfortunate.
Yes, we did receive a $5 anonymous donation. No comment on that, but it did go toward the Metroid Prime suit, so that bid war's heating up a little. Tiger donated toward Fusion suit, but everyone else in the last few has been Metroid Prime suit. We're getting some contention in the donos there. Yeah, $6 would make it back into a palindrome, just saying.
All right. So we were able to skip this cutscene, but we're not actually able to skip this cutscene. We are going to fly ourselves into the WizBig 2 race. Time will be when we cross the finish line on the final lap here, so it will be coming up in just a moment. I'm just going to say that absolutely nothing went wrong. Everything went right. And ideally, we find a blue balloon somewhere. And I actually know where a blue balloon is, except I don't, because I've never seen this version of the WizBig 2 race before in my life. This is the first time I'm seeing it with this seed. Definitely not picking up this blue balloon that I knew was there the entire time. Moving onward, we're going to fly. Oop. Whoopsie daisies. All right, and the reason we pick up this blue balloon is because, like many other racetracks that the plane can do, there is an out of bounds here. And we're going to try and nail this out of bounds just to show it off. So we're going to fly up here, then angle ourselves down, barrel roll, and perfect. We're out of bounds. Make sure to hit a trigger.
Nice.
And now we're going to fly out of bounds, navigate our way over to hit the checkpoints we need to, and then hopefully we can continue this forward. So we're going to hopefully hit the trigger. Oh, I accidentally did a somersault. Oh, I did not.
You think maybe? Wrong way. Yeah, bud.
Oh no.
I know we're going the wrong way.
There we go. Okay, so I wasn't close enough to hit the trigger from out of bounds, but that's fine. So there's 2 triggers around this area that we have to make sure that we hit out of bounds. Once we okay, we've gone back in bounds, but that's fine. The out of bounds was shown off, and no need to do the rest of it in bounds. I'm not going the wrong way, video game.
Yeah, what? What was that?
What?
Did it?
The game might be a little confused. But time is coming up right at the end here. Hopefully, it should be as I cross the finish line here.
Yeah, hopefully
it should
crossing
be
the finish line.
Time. Okay, we're good. It works.
Okay.
Press WizPig 2. The confetti plays on the tracker. We're done. Definitely the same seed that we started on. Definitely everything went right, and no mistakes were made. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of Diddy Kong Racing randomizer. So, in real talk, that soft lock is very easy to avoid. It's simply just don't do the trophy race in Future Funland before you do the Future Funland loading zone itself. However, in the heat of the moment and trying to do solo commentary, one can forget your strategies and your plans and make mistakes like that. But the good thing is to always have backups. And in the case like that, where I had a backup seed, we can just pretend like it never happened, which it never happened. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right.
I love a good backup.
So I know the marathon was a bit behind, so I am going to go ahead and quickly just get my shout-outs done and get us moving on to the next run. My name is LordFluffy. If you enjoyed this, I do Diddy Kong Racing randomizer runs pretty frequently on my Twitch channel. You can find me at twitch.tv/LordFluffy. Find me on Blue Sky, lordfluffy.bluesky.social. You can find me on the other website at LordFluffyX. If you enjoyed the stream, if you enjoyed the randomizer, definitely recommend checking it out. Googling Diddy Kong Racing randomizer should bring you to the website where you can find the randomizer itself. I believe the website is acastelli.com. Either way, Thank you all so much for having me. Power Up of Pride staff. I'm very happy to be able to show this off. Despite the hiccup there, I had a backup plan, so we are good to go. Thank you very much for having me. Hope you all enjoyed and ready for the next run, ladies and gentlemen. My name's been LordFluffy, and continue enjoying the marathon.
Hello, Fireside Pride 2024. It is I, Professor Birch. I am back again, once again, as your host for the next couple of runs. How are we doing? Taking a cue from my previous host and friend, Happy, just a reminder that for just $1, you can donate and not only donate money to a wonderful cause of Point of Pride. Point of Pride is a trans-led 501c nonprofit organization, and they've served tens of thousands of people in all 50 states and over 100 countries by providing access to gender-affirming health and wellness services. The money we raise, including even the simplest $1 donation, goes to things like Point of Pride's The Thrive Fund, a generalized fund to help cover a wide range of gender-affirming care and services, such as updating IDs, vocal therapy, and reproductive health services. If you would like to apply for one of Point of Pride's grants or government programs, get involved as a donor or volunteer, or just learn more about them, visit pointofpride.org. Also, with those $1 donations, you can affect, this is I think what I was trying to go for in my previous train of thought, but we still have that poll up for the Metroid Pride Metroid Prime randomizer suit selection. Fusion Suit is still currently in lead at $194.79, but the Metroid Prime suit is still close behind it at $104 exactly. So get those donations in. Honestly, I have no dog in this fight, but I would like to see it be a little bit closer, so donate towards that Metroid Prime suit. Chat, we have so many great and awesome runs still coming up tonight. What are the runs that you are most looking forward to? I know I am personally looking forward to the Sonic Origins runs coming up just after our next one. I was honestly so prepared to come and be like, we gotta get the boss rush, we gotta get that Amy Rose boss rush. But chat, you have been killing it today. We have crushed that total. So, but still, I would like to see number go up. So if we can keep number going up, I would greatly appreciate that.